My dad made me choose one of the 10 goddesses to marry. This video is purely for entertainment and does not violate copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and the image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 26a. Great drama. The young man pushed Mama Wang with all his strength, but his more than 300-kilogram body was like a stone and could not be pushed at all. It was Mrs. Wang herself who sat up and fell next to him. Come and see. Let everyone see who this shameless and stinky man is. The young man removed the pillowcase, revealing a red-faced Song coming. Because he took too much medicine, his face was covered in sweat. Young Master Song. It's you. This man was confused. No, you're young Master Song. By the way, next to her almost jumped with fright. Song coming suddenly rubbed his eyes and said with a lewd smile, "Damn, where were you? Why aren't you here?" After saying that, he opened his eyes and saw everything in front of him. He didn't react for a moment and was completely stunned here. There is no such thing as Zhuang. This is Mother Wang. Looking at himself again, he just, ouch. Song coming felt the blood rushing to his heart, his brain went blank, his heart trembled, he spurted out a gush of old blood, and fell directly. Live broadcasts of a delay time. Song Fan was sitting in the school teacher's office, and according to the usual schedule, he would have returned a long time ago. Today, in order for everyone to appreciate Feng Lin's performance, I stayed here to share it with other teachers. When the time comes, there will be no need to tell Lan Rao. Other teachers will naturally say so. Hey. This woman is so disgusting, I can't stand it anymore. She doesn't work, spends men's money, and betrays her family. A teacher looked at the computer in front of Song Fan with anger on her face. Apart from her, 5 or 6 teachers from the office gathered to watch. This man is too honest. If I were that man, I would have divorced him a long time ago. Come on, let me see how beautiful this woman is, and she really makes a man pay so much for her. Several nearby male teachers are also full of indignation. This man is such a coward. At that moment, the door opens and the camera follows the man and the reporter. Several teachers here held their breath and stared at the screen until a 300-pound woman and man appeared. Damn. This flavor. It's so spicy. Is there something wrong with this man's brain? He actually likes this kind of women. Aren't you going to encode it? Live broadcast. Song Fan almost laughed out loud when he saw this. My younger brother is very good at playing. I found such a woman for Feng Lin. This is intended to leave Feng Lin with a psychological shadow for life. Look, this man went to remove the pillowcase. A teacher pointed to the screen. Song Fan couldn't hide his smile at all. Come on Feng Lin, show your true colors. At this moment, Song Keming's face appeared on the screen. Seeing this, Song Fan's smile froze and he rubbed his eyes, thinking that he had seen it wrong. But it's him. That's how it is. He is her biological brother. He also seemed to be enjoying himself and shouted disgusting in a very unpleasant tone. Click. Song Fan's brain had no time to react. When he recovered and was about to turn off the computer, the screen automatically disappeared. The TV station should have figured it out. Of course, the teachers around him knew Song Keming. That was Song Fan's younger brother, and he was also a rich second generation. He didn't expect the other party's taste to be so strong. Although the overview is brief, in today's internet era, the transmission speed is surprisingly fast. In the blink of an eye, Zhang City's local live channel became a hot search topic in the local area. Then, there are forums and posting bars in Zhang City, all about this matter. Have you heard about it? Song Keming from the Song family in Zhang City actually had a lot of fun with a woman who weighs more than 300 pounds. Rich people like this have strange habits. Maybe ordinary women are tired of playing with them. The original video has been blocked, but I have the video downloaded here. Please video, the good man about can live a safe life. Bardo want to talk, the good man can live a life safe. Not just the internet, this matter is very important. It quickly spread throughout the upper-class society of Zhang City. Originally, this incident was surprising and Song Keming was from one of the 4 major families. The boss of the Song family, Song Zhangtao, saw the report on television and kicked it to pieces. This piece of trash. Bring it right now. Song Zhangtao was not a fool, he knew the character of his 2 sons very well. Obviously, Song Keming was deceived. His move can easily affect the reputation of the Song family and may eventually cause the market of Song family values plummet. Zhu family. Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing also looked at the video in confusion. It turns out that Song Keming likes very old women. Suddenly, Zhu Chuan's face turned pale. He looked at Wei Qing and said, "You can stay away from him from now on. What the hell do you mean?" Song Keming pretended that he liked shouting, maybe to get closer to you. Zhu Chuang grabbed Wang Qing's arm. He must have been tricked, but you can see from his expression that he obviously likes her. That fact, man. At the same time, Zhu Wang took Fen Lin to his little area. Just after stopping in front of her villa, Zhu Ziwang sent a short video to Zhu Wang's WeChat. Zhu Wang opened it like a habit and immediately heard Mrs. Wang's excited voice. Fen Lin turned around and scolded him with a smile. Does your woman have no face? Look at that kind of video in front of me. Duh. I ordered it accidentally. Zhu Wang's pretty face was so hot that it was embarrassing. She immediately replied to Zhu Ziwang. Aren't you bored? You're 100 years old and you still make those jokes. He then got out of the car pretending to be cold and stood outside the passenger seat, afraid that Fen Lin would run back in. Lan Ru's family. Fen Lin had no intention of leaving, and his father specifically told Zhu Wang to teach him some tricks. After seeing Song Keming's work today, Zhu Wang must be given the ability to protect himself as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will be too easy to suffer one. Zhu Wang looked at her phone again, and Zhu Ziwang sent a series of text messages. Song Keming is on the video. Seeing this, Zhu Wang frowned, then muted her phone and opened the video again. After seeing all this, Zhu Wang took a deep breath and handed the phone to Fen Lin. Did you do this? Fen Lin had been with Zhu Wang and had no first-hand information. After watching the video, he smiled and shook. The head of the 3 golden flowers was not a name in vain. Why are you laughing? As long as Song Keming is not a fool, he will know that it was us who did it and will definitely take revenge with all his strength. Zhu Wang said solemnly. By then, Fen Lin's life may be in danger. This is your mobile phone. Fen Lin opened Song Keming's chat history and handed it to Zhu Wang. Zhu Wang flipped through it carefully and broke out in a cold sweat. I see. If he hadn't been prepared, the lead actor this time would be Fen Lin. Song Keming planned to make Fen Lin unable to hold his head up for the rest of his life. Fen Lin, a poor boy, may not be able to find a job in the future because of this incident. Anyway, Song Keming's family is rich, so if something like this happens, they should eat and drink, and it won't have any impact. Fen Lin. Zhu Wang grabbed Fen Lin by the shoulders. He felt like he had dragged Fen Lin into the water. I won't divorce you. Don't worry, you will never be hungry if I have a bite of food from now on. Why do you say that? A little heavy. Fen Lin asked with a smile. That's because you don't know the capabilities of the Song family. This incident may cause Song Zhengtao to attack us personally, and the Zhu family should be in a catastrophe. As Zhu Wang was talking, she found that her phone rang and the caller reminded her that it was Zhu Chuan. She exhaled. Perhaps the Zhu family's disaster was coming. The Zhu family will definitely not fight with the Song family, who also is one of the 4 major families, because of the Zhu family. No one can save the Zhu family. If Zhu Wang had to think of a way out, she could still raise a man if she had the ability. P.S. Please give her one. Face Mama Wang and give her some recommendation votes. Chapter 27 The Inheritance of the 4 Major Families. What Zhu Wang fears now is her family. Especially Wang Qin. She has never had a difficult life. No matter what she did to herself, she was still his mother. Zhu Wang answered the phone and asked calmly, Dad, what's wrong? Shouting, tell me the truth, does this Song Keming matter have anything to do with you? Zhu Chuan's voice was very solemn and his words were intertwined. With emotion tremble. What happened? Zhu Wang asked. I just received a call from the head of the Song family, Song Zhengtao, and he asked me to come, Zhu Chuan said over the phone. Zhu Wang clenched her fists, looked at Fen Lin in front of her, and then said into the phone. Yes. I did, but they forced me. Stop talking. Of course I know you were forced. Zhu Chuan's voice was very low. He sighed deeply. I will transfer 20 million to your bank card and leave Zhang City with Fen Lin. After saying that, Zhu Chuan hung up the phone. Zhu Wang was stunned in place. He held his phone to his ear and didn't put it down. Fen Lin, who was next to him, also heard the sound of his cell phone. To be fair, Zhu Chuan is a pretty good man. Zhu Wang's eyes turned slightly red. She opened the car door again and said to Fen Lin, I want to go back and help our family overcome difficulties. After all, this incident happened because of him. After getting along with her for the past few days, he discovered that Zhu Wang was a good woman. You can't just watch her fall into the fire pit. Song family. There is a round stone table on the lawn, where Song Zhengtao, the head of the Song family, is sitting and drinking tea. The face that was already very thin, coupled with the sinister eyes, seemed very fierce. In the wheelchair next to him, sat Song Keming. Behind Song Keming is his brother, Song Fan. As for the other side of the stone table, there's Zhu Chuan. Dad, what I said is true. It was Zhu Ruang and Fen Lin who wronged me. Dad. You have to avenge me. Song Keming shouted. He still felt unwell and seemed to have a psychological shadow. The doctor had examined him before and said that he had used a large amount of Viagra and exercised too strenuously. The current medication is not worn off yet and may cause permanent damage. Now he is very afraid. If he becomes a eunuch, what's the point of living? Zhu Chuan, give me an answer. Song Zenta took the teacup with a cold and chilling voice. This matter still needs to be investigated. It's all a coincidence. Zhu Chuan lowered his head and said. Zhu Chuan. Do you mean I'm lying? Song Keming shouted. In this situation, he couldn't be bothered to pretend to be a gentleman. This is the happiness of my life. Now he only has one thought. Torture Fen Lin and Zhu Ruang to death. Young Master Song, I dare not. It's just that the police station has controlled the reporter now. When they come out, they will know who was behind the scenes. I think my daughter must be innocent. Zhu Chuan said bravely. Now he can only refuse to admit his guilt. Zhu Chuan. You are looking for death. I tell you, shut up. Song Zhentel interrupted Song Keming and held his cheeks indifferently. Zhu Chuan, give me an answer, don't let me say it once. Third time. Mr. Song, this matter has nothing to do with my daughter. It must have been done by Fen Lin alone. Zhu Chuan clutched his fists and tried his best to let go of the relationship. Mr. Song, you should go to Fen Lin, not us. Zhu Chuan. Home. Haha, I haven't interacted with you much before, and of course I suddenly found it a little interesting. Song Zenta waved his hand at Zhu Chuan, you may leave. Thank you, Mr. Song, I will go and investigate now. Zhu Chuan stood up, bowed respectfully, and turned to leave. Dad. Let him go like this. Song Keming roared and hit the wheelchair with all his strength. I want Fen Lin to die. Die. That piece of trash. He has no intrigue, no wonder he was deceived. Song Zenta blurted out. He shouted. Song Fan put his hand on Song Keming's shoulder and explained, there are many things that cannot be said openly. What if Zhu Chuan's cell phone records? Song Keming was stunned for a moment, nodded slightly, and was overcome with anger. If he was in front of Zhu Chuan, he told Fen Lin to die. This recording, always for Zhu Chuan to hand her over to the police station, it can completely destroy the Song family. Many things must be done secretly, such as making Fen Lin evaporate without anyone noticing. No one knows who did it. I'm sorry, Song Keming whispered. I'm so excited. That's good to know. Song Zenta's fingers tapped the stone table rhythmically and his sinister eyes looked in the direction Zhu Chuan left. Zhu family. Wei King didn't know that Fen Lin was responsible for what happened to Song Keming. She just thought it was a show of emotion. Looking at Fen Lin sitting in front of her, she ignored him at all. My daughter has an order of 300 million, it's better not to make her angry. After a while, Zhu Chuan opened the door and walked in. Dad. I'm sorry for you. Zhu Ruang shouted, ran over and hugged Zhu Chuan. Didn't I let you go? I have already paid the 20 million on your card. This money is enough for you to live. Zhu Chuan's eyes were a little gentle, and he gently touched Zhu Ruang's hair. Dad. I won't leave. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Zhu for help, Zhu Ruang said with red eyes. Silly boy, it's okay for small businesses, but this time it's the Song family. You should know that the Song family's business is stronger than the Zhu family. Among the four major families, only the Song family and the Gu family trusted in business. The richest man in Zhang City has been moving between two families. If the Gu family's stock price rises today, the Gu family will be ranked number 1 in Zhang City. If the Song family's stock price rises tomorrow, they will be number 1. Zhu Chuan knew that the first wave of attacks on the Song family could be a business. The Zhu family will not offend the Song family because of them. What's wrong with you? What happened? Wei Qin, who was looking at his cell phone, noticed that something was wrong in the conversation between the two and quickly walked over and asked. The Song family will take revenge on us, and our Zhu family will be finished, Zhu Chuan said calmly. I will use the fastest time to withdraw the funds and we will leave Zhang City. Yes. We leave Zhang City and the Song family. No matter how powerful we are, we can't reach anywhere else. As long as we have funds, we can start again. Zhu Ruang nodded vigorously. No, I will go with your mother and you with Fen Lin. Zhu Chuan's eyes were solemn. Why? Zhu Ruang asked with tears in her eyes. You don't understand. Do you really think that becoming one of the four major families is just about having money? Zhu Chuan knew that money was just one aspect of becoming one of the four major families. Even if it's a head little one. The real big head is a warrior, also called ancient warrior. There are masters of this kind in the four major families. They kill invisible people and can make people evaporate without anyone noticing. Therefore, the Song family and the Gu family, who were stronger in business, were afraid of the Lan family and the Zhu family. Everyone knows the ranking of the four major families of Zhongla City. The first is the Lan family, who with the backing of the country, especially since Mr. Lan is still alive, they deserve the first place. The second is the Zhu family. It is rumored that Zhu Yuan's strength is unfathomable and can only be described as terrifying. Many people even rumored that if Lan had not had the backing of the state, the Zhu family would be number one in Zhong City. Chapter 28 I'm looking for Zhu Yuan. Zhu Chuan is not stupid. He agreed to marry Lin as his wife because they only offended Song Keming. He believed that Song Zhentel would not take action against the Zhu family because of his son. It's different now. If something like this happens, Song Zhentel will definitely not give up. What is the most important thing for such a large family? It must be expensive. Zhu Chuan felt that this time it would not only be a business crackdown, but their lives would even be in danger. If they flee separately, at least they will have a better chance of surviving. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, would our Zhu family be in this situation? Wai King pointed to the tip of Feng Lin's nose and shouted. Mom! Am I your biological son? For money, would you rather I fall into a pit of fire? Zhu Wang wiped away her tears. If it weren't for Feng Lin, he would still be in the dark. If you marry someone like Song Keming, what will happen in the future is unimaginable. It's okay. We still have orders from the Zhu family. Let's ask them for help, Feng Lin said from the side. Feng Lin, let me tell you the truth, Zhu Chuan said heavily and one swore an oath to the old man. Accept the marriage between Feng Lin and Zhu Luoying, otherwise the family will be ruined. He felt that the eyes of God were watching in the darkness. Or perhaps it was because of the previous breach and would that lead to this situation. Feng Lin, being able to become one of the four major families does not depend on money, but on ancient warriors. Zhu Chuan's words made not only Feng Lin, but also Ai King and Zhu Ruoying next to him look bewildered and confused. Ancient warrior. Feng Lin murmured in a low voice. No wonder Zhu Yuan's Zhu family is also one of the four major families. You must have never heard of people like this, right? Let me tell you, their physical strength is far beyond that of ordinary people and they can kill invisible people. To keep calm, Zhu Chuan took out a flower stick. His body turned it on and fiercely took a few puffs. Dad. What kind of era is this? Do they still dare to kill people? Zhu Wang said with a cold face. You're right. They are so brave. Zhu Chuan nodded heavily. You should still remember the stone group that was quite popular in Zhong City before, right? Didn't you notice that her senior management disappeared inexplicably? Zhu Wang's face suddenly changed. Pale. Speaking of which, the young master of the stone group chased her back then. Very disgusting, blocked at the door of the company all day. For this reason, Zhu Wang called the police no less than 10 times. Dad, did they yes? As far as I know, they offended the Song family and the Zhu family. I don't know who did it. Zhu Chuan took another drag on the cigarette. How do you want to investigate? People are confused. It just disappeared. Husband. What do you mean, the Song family could send such an aster to deal with us? Wai King's voice trembled with fear. It's very possible, that's why I said, it's useless to look for the Zhu family. The head of the Zhu family, Zhu Yuan, is a powerful ancient warrior. Zhu Chuan looked at Feng Lin and sighed deeply. How big do you think our family is? To save face, let the Mr. Zhu send someone to protect us. Feng Lin. It's all your fault. My family used to be fine, but since you showed up, things haven't changed for us. Wai King's hatred towards Feng Lin was endless. I give you 300 million free orders. Isn't that a good deal? Feng Lin pursed his lips. This was too greedy. Wai King shouted coldly. The order was not sent by you, but by Zhu Ziying. By the way, Ying. We can only trust her now. Zhu Wang took out her mobile phone and dialed Zhu Ziying's number. This time it was Zhu Ziying. There's danger to life. She doesn't care about face or anything. As long as you can protect your family from harm, that's fine. Zhu Chuan and Wai King looked at each other. Maybe there was something they could do. After all, Zhu Ziying is Zhu Yuan's biological daughter. Hey, Ying, I have something to ask you. The Song family may be bad for us. Can you ask your dad? Let him help us. Zhu Wang took her mobile phone and went out. He didn't want his mother to know that it was Feng Lin's actions that caused the Zhu family to suffer a crisis. After a while, Zhu Wang returned. Xiaoying. How are you? Wai King asked anxiously. Yingying said she would tell her father now and ask him to help us through the difficulties, Zhu Wang said with a smile. Great. I hope it's okay. Wang Qing sat on the sofa with his hands together. Fen Lin didn't say anything. His plan was to let Zhu Yuan help. He was alone and couldn't stay here to protect them. He still has his own things to do. After a while, Zhu Wang's cell phone rang. Wang Qing said excitedly, quickly. Turn on the speaker. Zhu Wang nodded, and the fingers pressing the phone trembled. Hey. Yingying, how are you? Xiaoying, I'm sorry, my dad said he can help for a while, but not for a lifetime. We can't always let the Zhu family protect you and the Zhu family. Hearing this, I was excited at first. Wang Qing's face suddenly turned pale. Zhu Chuan also shook his head helplessly, took a deep breath, and prepared to escape. Xiaoying, don't worry. Since he doesn't agree, I will live in your house. The Song family won't dare to waste time when they see me. Zhu Ziyang continued, saying that this is the only way at the moment. Tell Zhu Yuan that Fen Lin asked him to send some masters, Wu. Before Fen Lin finished speaking, Zhu Wang strangled Fen Lin's neck with one hand and controlled her face in her arms. Fen Lin's eyes darkened and she was given another face washington. Zhu Wang must control Fen Lin and not let him talk nonsense. He has already offended the Song family. If he offends the Zhu family again, how can he continue to do so? Yingying, you don't have to blame yourself. This has nothing to do with you in the first place. I'll hang up first. Zhu Wang hung up the phone and let go of Fen Lin. Fen Lin immediately fell on the sofa, breathing greedily, almost suffocating to death at this moment. Fen Lin. Don't you think we're miserable enough? Can you call Mr. Zhu Yuan by name? Wang Qing stood up and prepared to fight Fen Lin. Okay. Anyway, everything happened. Zhu Chuan grabbed Wang Qing's arm and shook his head gently at her. Wait here, I'll go to Zhu's house to talk to them. Fen Lin got up and walked out. Trash. Seeing that our Zhu family is in such a state of desolation, are you planning to run away? Wang Qing cursed fiercely. If it weren't for Zhu Wang, I wouldn't bother to worry about you. Fen Lin pointed at Wang Qing and yelled, then walked away. Brat. Why are you talking to me? Wang Qing kicked him out and scolded him. Mom. I believe in Fen Lin, he must have a way. Zhu Wang sat on the sofa and lowered her head. This kid just brainwashed you. Do you believe him? Even a sow can climb a tree. Even Zhu Ziyang, his own daughter, is useless. What good is he, an outsider? Wang Qing grabbed her hair with a twisted expression. Annoyed, he's dead. That's it, pack your things quickly. Fen Lin left Zhu's house and hailed a taxi. Master, go to the Zhu family. The Zhu family also lives in the eastern district of Jiangxi, just 4 or 5 kilometers from here. In just a few minutes, Fen Lin arrived at Zhu's house. After getting out the car, he looked at the huge mansion next to him, which was even more spectacular than the Lan family. This is a rich new construction area and the new generation of houses will definitely be better than those of the past. Who are you looking for? Fen Lin had just approached the gate of the mansion when a man dressed in security clothing walked towards him. I'm looking for Zhu Yuan, Fen Lin said with a smile. The guard's eyes security turned cold and stern. Even if the heads of the 4 major families come here in person, they still call you Mr. Zhu. Who do you think you are? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Wando Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 29. Just take my daughter. Fen Lin smiled and shrugged, too lazy to say anything to that person. He took out his mobile phone and called Zhu Yuan. Hey. I was right in front of your house and your people stopped me, Fen Lin said over the phone. After all, they asked him for help this time. He couldn't take down these people and force his way through. Inside the mansion, Zhu Yuan was exercising in the courtyard. When he heard that Fen Lin was at the door of his house, he immediately ran over. All the staff here were stunned. A big shot like Zhu Yuan usually pays great attention to his own behavior. This type of indecency can really happen. Open the door. Open the door quickly. Before anyone came, the voice came first. Zhu Yuan in the distance yelled at the security personnel here. When everyone around saw this situation, they were all shocked and speechless. The door opened immediately. As for the strong man who had blocked Fen Lin before, his head was lowered and his body was trembling. Mr. Fen Lin, why didn't you inform me in advance? I will send someone to pick you up directly. Zhu Yuan bowed respectfully to Fen Lin and then looked around. From now on, see Mr. Fen Lin. It's like seeing me. Yeah. All the security personnel lowered their heads. As for the person who stopped Fen Lin, he finally couldn't bear the pressure and was about to kneel as soon as his legs became weak. However, Fen Lin grabbed his shoulders and stopped him from kneeling. Stay still. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he walked in. First-class people have the ability but not the temperament, second-class people have the ability but the temperament, and third-class people have the ability but the temper. Fen Lin's father taught him from a young age not to lose his temper over trivial things. The man looked at Fen Lin's back in astonishment. After Zhu Yuan and Fen Lin left, people dared to start breathing. Who was the young man just now? I have been following Mr. Zhu for 7 or 8 years, and this is the first time I have seen his expression. He should be a big shot, but he is not from Zhang City. Yes, he is the most influential person in Zhang City. It should be Mr. Lan, but even when he saw him, Mr. Zhu is not so respectful. Fen Lin followed Zhu Yuan to a corner of the mansion. This is a training place with many edged weapons. The ground is full of holes and pits, the original grass has disappeared and only Lois is visible. Sir, the 7 days of my hidden injury have not arrived yet, so I guess you are here for the Zhu family. Zhu Yuan motioned for Fen Lin to sit on the chair next to him. You guessed right. Fen Lin nodded. Zhu Yuan smiled and sat across from Fen Lin. I would like to ask you, sir, what is your relationship with the Zhu family? Remember what I said about breaking off the engagement. I have an engagement with Zhu Boying. Fen Lin spread his hands and explained with a smile. The older generation of the two families have some intersection, so I wanted to help them. I see, that means that sir is single now, right? Zhu Yuan suddenly asked. Well, that's right. Fen Lin and Zhu Boying only have a cooperative relationship. As for Lan Rao, they are not dating yet. Marriage is the most important thing in life and Fen Lin needs to think hard before confirming the relationship. At least read all these fiances. Okay. To be honest, sir, I happen to have a daughter, but I don't have a boyfriend yet. You're talking about Zhu Ziyin, right? Sir, do you know her? That's great. If you don't mind, sir, just take my daughter in. Yes, Zhu Yuan said with a smile, as long as the husband can convince my daughter to be a little wife without a title, I agree. Haha, selling your daughter is a lie, but curing the disease of your daughter is real, right? Fen Lin crossed his legs, he had already seen everything. He doesn't like to owe others, 300 million orders, cure Zhu Yuan. I had already thought about it before coming here this time. The Zhu family protected the Zhu family and he cured Zhu Ziyin. It's fair and we don't owe each other anything. Sir, you're truly a god. Zhu Yuan stood up excitedly and bowed to Fen Lin, as long as you can heal my daughter, I am willing to give her all the Zhu family's property. Why do I need so much money? Fen Lin stretching, he walked towards the rack with weapons nearby. Your daughter won't live long. Zhu Yuan's face was as pale as paper. The first time I saw her, I knew that she depends on medicine now. Fen Lin took out a long sword from the shelf and gently waved it a few times. Sir, my hidden injury and my daughter's injury were caused by the same person. He just hates that I am not strong enough. Zhu Yuan's eyes turned cold and he pressed his hand on the stone table in front of him. If I can have the kingdom of the Lord, my wife will not die. Click. The stone table suddenly shattered. To be honest, it is more difficult to save your daughter than to treat you. After all, it is a heart wound, so it is still risky. Fen Lin swung a sword and a blade that fell from a height split into two. Habs. Last time I asked the doctor that the current medicine is no longer effective. If the dose is increased, my daughter's body will not be able to withstand it and she will die if she does not take it, Zhu Yuan said. Fen Lin, I can promise you, sir, whether she is cured or not. I am willing to give her to the Zhu family. What? If your daughter dies, you don't want the Zhu family anymore? Fen Lin asked with a smile. My daughter is my only concern. If she dies, I will take revenge, although I know I am hitting a stone with an egg, Zhu Tianxiang said, suddenly looking towards the villa in the distance. Zhu Ziyin took out the suitcase and went out. When she noticed Fen Lin, she ran over in surprise. Fen Lin, why are you here? Ying, let me introduce you. This is Mr. Fen Lin, your fiancé. Zhu Yuan pointed at Fen Lin. Lin said. Hey. Zhu Ziyin opened her mouth in shock. How could this be possible? However, when Fen Lin held the photos, he did not read all of them. Could it be that you are also in the photo? Zhu Ziyin shook her head violently. His own photo was also in Fen Lin's hand. That wasn't a test in disguise. Fen Lin was not lying. Those women were really his fiancées. Don't talk nonsense. You help the Zhu family and I will help your daughter. It's only fair. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. The fiancé in his hand had not finished withdrawing money, but wanted to add more. He didn't dare to play like that. Sir, I feel relieved. Zhu Yuan turned around and shouted to the forest in the distance. Go and go. Not long after, a pair of twins arrived from a distance and they were as tall as Feng Lin. Almost, about 1.85 meters. His face is full of masculinity and he is about 40 years old. Mr. Zhu. The two bowed their heads to Zhu Yuan at the same time. I will give you the mission to protect the safety of the three people of the Zhu family, Zhu Yuan said to the two. Yeah. They both nodded at the same time. Remember, you only listen to Zhu Ruan's orders, Feng Lin reminded. Yeah. The two were far away and noticed Zhu Yuan's attitude towards Feng Lin. They knew he was a big shot without even thinking about it. I'll go with you. Zhu Ziyang looked at Feng Lin in disbelief, wondering who this guy was. Even his own words were useless. Feng Lin, an outsider, persuaded his father. You can't go. I want to see your injuries. Your life is in danger at any moment. Feng Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and said calmly. Do you see my injury? You, listen sir, Zhu Yuan interrupted Zhu Ziyang. Dad, you know clearly that my injury is easy. Zhu Ziyang flattened her mouth and covered her body, her pretty face feeling a little hot. His wound was in his heart. It wouldn't matter if he were a man, but when in a private place is there. How could he let Feng Lin see him? Feng Lin smiled slightly. Don't worry, models below D are no different from men in my opinion. Chapter 30. Blind. Yui. Zhu Ziyang pointed at Feng Lin and puffed out her mouth angrily. Then, she looked at Zhu Yuan in surprise. As always, what man would dare to say such a thing in front of her? Zhu Yuan had already been slapped. Why is there still a smile on Zhu Yuan's mouth, which is completely lifeless? Ying, follow Mr. Feng Lin to the bedroom. He is a doctor. Zhu Yuan walked over and patted Zhu Ziyang on the shoulder. Hurry up, my time is precious. Feng Lin walked directly towards the villa in the distance. Zhu Ziyang still didn't want to approach, but Zhu Yuan took her arm and followed her. If his daughter's wounds could be healed, he would be able to do what he had worried about for more than 20 years. After the three people left, Goen and Go also left. The two drove their Audi SUV and rushed to Zhu's house. They were the first people to follow Zhu Yuan. At first, Zhu Yuan worked as a security company. They were all too familiar with this type of task. I even feel that this kind of task is quite refreshing. Usually at Zhu's house, with Zhu Yuan pressuring me, I feel extremely nervous. But when it comes to protecting other rich people, they are guests. Zhu family. Wang Qing almost packed everything. Zhu Chuan also watched the stock market in his own industry carefully, preparing to sell shares at the right time. Maximize benefits. Zhu Wang has been sitting on a sofa, waiting quietly. She believed that Feng Lin would come back to look for her even if he didn't make it. What are you doing standing? Come on. Your life will be gone in a moment. Wang Qing reminded from the side. Wait a minute Feng Lin, let's go with him. Zhu Wang raised her head and said. Why are you waiting for him? He might have run away early. Wang Qing was dragging a large suitcase and had just opened the door of the villa when he saw a security guard walking from a distance. The security guard didn't know that they had offended the Song family. Madam, there is someone outside asking to see you. They say he is from the Zhu family, the security guard said calmly. What? The Zhu family? Zhu Wang sat on the sofa in shock. Zhu Chuan, who was researching stocks, immediately stood up and said, Please. Please. After a while, Goen and Go were standing in the living room of Zhu's villa. Goen said calmly, Which one of you is Miss Zhu Boying? Mr. Zhu specifically explained that from now on, we will only obey Miss Zhu's orders. Zhu Chuan and Wang Qing looked at each other and looked at Zhu Boying. Exactly the same as last time, could it really be Feng Lin? Hello, I am Zhu Boying. Zhu Wang walked over, still a little unable to react. Excuse me, was it Feng Lin who asked Mr. Zhu Yuan to let you come? That's how it is. Go. They nodded, they had done it before too. After listening to Zhu Yuan's conversation, Mr. Feng Lin was on his lips. It's really Feng Lin. Zhu Chuan frowned. Although Zhu Ziyang, his own daughter, was useless, Feng Lin was able to persuade Zhu Yuan. What method did you use? Haha. That guy Feng Lin, do you still want to lie to us? Wang Qing, who hadn't spoken for a long time, spoke. She didn't believe it anyway. Her own daughter is not as good as an outsider. Like Feng Lin. I think you are the actors he hired, right? Zhu Chuan also nodded secretly. In fact, it was possible and he asked two people to stabilize them temporarily. We are actors. You mean we can't protect you? The corners of Gowen's mouth raised slightly. Wang Qing said coldly. Maybe Fen Lin paid them 100 yuan and would have run away a long time ago. Mother. Zhu Ruang walked over and looked at the two of them apologetically. I'm sorry, I think this lady is right. Since he is here to protect, he naturally has to show off. Go-O's eyes narrowed slightly. He raised his left foot and stomped on the marble floor beneath his feet. Boom. His left foot sank half an inch into the ground and cracks appeared on the ground, spreading in all directions like a spider web. It spreads to a full meter range. This, Wang Qing was stunned, lowering her head and looking at the broken ground under her feet. It was fake. In fact, he stepped on the marble floor like this, but what if he kicked someone? Zhu Chuan was surprised. He was actually an ancient warrior. I wonder if this can prove it. If it's not enough, I'll make a fool of myself again, Go-Wan said calmly. No need. Gentlemen, please sit down. Wife, I apologize to you too. Hurry up. Zhu Chuan hurriedly reminded. Wang Qing was also a little confused, feeling as if her head was in a mess. If such an important fish is allowed to hold a grudge, the Zhu family might destroy the Song family. Before they come, gentlemen, I'm sorry, I was blind. You're welcome. Go-Wan interrupted Wang Qing, then looked at Zhu Ruang. Miss Zhu, we just followed your orders. A step back. Pushing Zhu Chuan away, she was also confused now. Could it be that Fen Lin also received the last order? Is it possible that she knows Zhu Yuan is in a good relationship? Fen Lin had almost completed the inspection. She left the bedroom and headed to the living room. As for Zhu Ziyan, she hurriedly dressed, her face as red as a ripe apple. She looked at Fen Lin's back and felt embarrassed. To see someone, especially Fen Lin, he is the man her best friend likes. But thinking about this, he also began to doubt the charm that Fen Lin had, that an outstanding woman like Zhu Ruang would actually like him. Fen Lin came to the living room, sat on a sofa, crossed his legs and said, someone has to help, otherwise he won't live to be 5. Lord, I admire you now. Zhu Yuan's face was moved. Fen Lin. Just one look at the wound tells you what happened. He was right. Zhu Ziyan was once rescued by an old man. Otherwise, I wouldn't be alive today. But the old man just helped him casually and then disappeared. Because of this, Zhu Yuan has developed the habit of getting contact information whenever he meets an expert, even if it is of comedic caste. I will send you some medicinal materials and let you drink a bowl when you get up early and before going to bed. Now that you are weak, acupuncture stimulation is prone to accidents. Fen Lin picked up the phone and sent a list of medicinal materials to Zhu Yuan. Thank you, sir. Zhu Yuan bowed deeply and shed tears of gratitude. After Fen Lin settled the matter here, he left alone. On the way, he was about to call out to Zhu Ruang, but he saw two familiar figures. It was the classmate I met before, Go Dong, and his short girlfriend, Qian Jing. The two people in the distance also noticed Fen Lin and immediately ran over. Fen Lin. Haha, I didn't expect to find you here. It was very urgent last time. I'm really sorry. Go Dong bowed repeatedly to Fen Lin. Qian Jing next to him also had a flattering smile on his face. I'm sorry. I apologize for my attitude. The main boss is waiting there. It's not easy for the workers to work. Yes, I understand. Fen Lin nodded calmly and went up. He saw everything that happened this time in the rear-view mirror. The two men saw him get into the Mercedes-Benz and hurriedly chased him a few steps. To put it harshly, I think I can take advantage of it. Fen Lin, this is the Eastern District. You don't live here, do you? Go Dong asked with a smile. Qian Jin next to her also looked envious. This was a villa area. Fen Lin shook his head. You're thinking too much. How can I afford to live here, just passing through? Chapter 31 Provocation. Fen Lin looked at the two of them and smiled. Aren't you here too? Do you live here? Haha, let alone the villa area here. We can't afford even an ordinary house in Zhang City. Go Dong smiled bitterly. We were passing through too, so I took some photos here. Mr. Fen, don't be ridiculous. I saw you sitting in a Mercedes-Benz S-Class last time. Qian Jin was next to him. Smiling, they checked it when they returned. A true millionaire car. Fen Lin seemed to suddenly realize. Oh, that car you mentioned is not mine. But being able to meet such a rich second generation shows that Mr. Feng's identity is not simple, Qian Jin continued. It's not that simple. You're overthinking it. I'm the driver the beautiful woman hired. Fen Lin was unwilling to admit his identity. After saying so much, doesn't this woman just want to benefit from this? What? Were you driving? Qian Jin's expression suddenly changed. She thought for a moment and shook her head. No, you're so close, we should meet. I want to explain here that she is my supervisor. The company is so caring. I heard that she is the mistress, Fen Lin explained in a low voice. What? Mistress? Qian Jin finally understood that it was because of her slut personality that the bosses liked her, so she behaved frivolously. It turns out that it was all a misunderstanding. This Fen Lin is still a poor man. Haha. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. I thought you had suddenly become rich. Godong took out his mobile phone and said, "Here, get your contact information and take some time to meet our old classmates." Fen Lin did not refuse. After adding contact information, smiled and said, "I have something else to do, so I'll leave now. See you both. Goodbye." Godong greeted Fen Lin. Seeing Fen Lin walk away, Qian Jin pursed her lips and said, "It's a waste of feelings. I thought I had met a big shot." "Alright. How can you find a big shot so easily?" Godong shook his head slightly. "That's right. If I could meet a rich man, I wouldn't follow you around or rent a house all the time," Qian Jin said calmly. Godong looked a little sad, but calmed down. Fen Lin arrived at Zhu's house and saw Wang Qing and Zhu Chuan sitting at a stone table in the distance chatting. As for Zhu Ruang, she has been looking at her phone. When she saw Fen Lin coming back, Zhu Ruang immediately walked over and grabbed Fen Lin's hand. "Mr. Zhu didn't hurt you, right?" "Why did he hurt me?" Fen Lin shook his head and grabbed Zhu Ruang's shoulders. "From now on, you must bring a bodyguard when you go out alone. Yeah, I have given you instructions. During this period of time, my parents must be together, one to protect them and the other to protect me." As Zhu Ruang spoke, Wang Qing approached from a distance. He still can't believe that Fen Lin has such an ability. "Do you know Mr. Zhu?" "Yes, I have known him since the last order of 300 million. Fen Lin nodded. "That's not right. What can you talk to Mr. Zhu?" "I have been a soldier who has actually been on the battlefield. He likes men with blood on their hands," Fen Lin said calmly. Zhu Chuan also walked over from a distance and said with a smile, "Fen Lin, no matter what, you saved our family. Thank you very much." "You're welcome, I'll leave if nothing happens." Fen Lin turned away. Zhu Ruang hurriedly followed him. "I'll see you off." "No, stay at home these days." Fen Lin rejected Zhu Ruang, feeling that the family song would definitely take action. "There are experts from the Zhu family here to protect us, and the one the Song family is most likely to face is Fen Lin himself. He also hopes to generate some hatred because he has anti-damage armor." Leaving Zhu's house, Fen Lin took out a red metal token from his wallet. It was about the same size as a bank card and was stamped with numbers and Fen Lin's identity information. This certificate is called the Red Mission Pass. Class A, and Fen Lin privately calls it anti-injury armor. Simply put, as long as someone provokes Fen Lin and Fen Lin as the evidence, then Fen Lin can legally eliminate the opponent. In the Dead Knight organization, only 2 people have it. Anti-injury armor. They are also the 2 strongest people in Death Knight. Number 1 and number 2. As soon as Fen Lin left, a Rolls-Royce Phantom stopped in front of Zhu's house. Song Fan got out of the back seat, and the person sitting next to him was a middle-aged man with a beard. He is probably between 40 and 50 years old. The 2 walked side by side towards the interior of Zhu's house. Zhu Chuan and others were still in the courtyard and did not return. When they saw Song Fan in front of them, all of their expressions changed. "Cubs." Seemingly noticing that the 2 men were not friendly, the 2 brothers Goen and Go also approached from the grass in the distance. "Are they?" Song Fan turned around and asked. This time they just wanted to make sure. "I heard reports before that people from the Zhu family came to protect the Zhu family. They just take a look." "That's right, the Go brothers of the Zhu family, Goen and Go Wu, are quite good. 1 against 1 is fine, but 1 against 2 is not good for me," said the bearded man next to him. Quietly. Song Fan had a sinister look in his eyes. He had long heard that Zhu Ruang and Zhu Yan's daughter had a very good relationship. He didn't expect that the Zhu family would send someone to protect him. This also indirectly proves that the Zhu family has guessed that they might die. Haha. Don't be nervous. We have no bad intentions. We have already investigated clearly. Fen Lin is our enemy. Song Fan smiled and spread his hands. Since the Go brothers are here, he wants to kill them without anyone. Realize, almost impossible. Wang Qing asked with a puzzled look, "Young Master Song, what happened? You must have heard about what happened to my brother today, right?" Fen Lin did it. "I'm so sorry, implicating you. Song Fan is not as idiotic as his younger brother, so we will divide them up first. Let them mistakenly think that the Song family only deals with Fen Lin and not them, so they relax their vigilance." Zhu Chuan was so disrespectful today that his father had already given the order to make the Zhu family disappear. It turns out that Fen Lin did this. Our Zhu family took the blame. Zhu Chuan, did you hide it from me on purpose? Wei King suddenly became furious and grabbed Zhu Chuan's clothes with both hands. I told you so. A long time ago, this kid is a broom star, you still don't believe it. The corner of Song Fan's mouth raised slightly. I'm here to tell you this, and it has nothing to do with the Zhu family. After saying that, Song Fan put on his beard. Leave together. The main goal now is to find Fen Lin and arrest him first. Mom. Fen Lin did this, but he was trying to save me. Zhu Ruan defended herself. If it weren't for Fen Lin, I might die. Stop scaring me. Cut off the relationship with Fen Lin immediately. Divorce, immediately. I don't care if you are divorced or single, get divorced immediately. Wei King pointed at Zhu Ruan and said, if you maintain this relationship with him, it may lead to the destruction of our Zhu family. Do you understand? I don't understand. Fen Lin is. He offended the Song family just to save me. I won't divorce him. Zhu Ruan shouted coldly. Shut up everyone. The Song family came here to tell us this. Can't you guess what the purpose is? Zhu Chuan decided to favor Fen Lin this time because something was not right in his heart. When he was in the Song family, he had always distanced himself from Fen Lin and let him take the blame. Chapter 32. Do you dare to sleep in my class? Perhaps the Song family blamed Fen Lin for his words. The Song family must be deliberately sowing discord. They want us to think that they are just dealing with Fen Lin and then let their guard down, Zhu Ruan suddenly said. He looked at the Go brothers in the distance. Two gentlemen, I just followed Song Fan. Who was by your side? He is a master of the Song family, nicknamed Huzi. We don't know the specific name, Go explained calmly. Hearing this, Zhu Chuan and Wei King looked stunned. Perhaps Zhu Ruan's guess was correct. If you're just here to tell them about this, why bring any experts? An idea appeared in several people's minds, that is, the Song family brought experts here this time to prepare to deal with them. But seeing that the Zhu family also had experts, they decided to give up. Is in danger. If they find out that we have someone protecting us, they will definitely bother Fen Lin. After Zhu Ruan said this, he immediately picked up the phone and called Fen Lin. On the other hand, Fen Lin was almost in the city village. He looked at Zhu Ruan's phone, answered the call and asked, what's wrong? Fen Lin, come to our house immediately. The Song family is looking for you. You are in danger, Zhu Ruan said anxiously there. Don't worry, I also have experts here, Fen Lin leaned to reassure Zhu Ruan. Knowing that Fen Lin had someone protecting him, Zhu Ruan felt relieved. Fen Lin smiled and hung up the phone, but he hoped that those people would find him soon. He has been stopping the road here and no one found him until the evening. He sighed deeply and despised the tracking skills of these people. Early the next morning, Fen Lin didn't take Tang Qianqian's electric car and was currently in danger. He was only afraid that the Song family would find Tang Qianqian. I ran to school alone and arrived at the gate. The school and entered the campus. After walking a few steps, he realized that someone was following him. So you were waiting for me at school, Fen Lin murmured in a low voice. No wonder he ran all the way yesterday. Late and couldn't find it. The Song family knew that he was the master here and had no intention of looking for him because he would definitely appear here early the next morning. Fen Lin ignored him and walked to class with his hands in his pants pockets. Sitting on the podium, he crossed his legs and looked at the people below. I first saw the twin tails in the corner of the front row, Guduatu. Like yesterday, he was wearing headphones and looking at his phone. Fen Lin stretched and lay down on the podium. Today there were 2 English classes. He suddenly felt a little regretful. He would have taught physical education if he had known. Guduatu. When the class bell rang, Fen Lin suddenly stood up straight and shouted. Guduatu didn't react at all. The classmate next to him gently touched Guduatu's arm. He took off his headphones and followed his deskmate's gaze to look at Fen Lin. Bring the phone here, I'll give it to you after class. Fen Lin stretched out his hand to Guduatu. Zhang Yashin and others sitting behind were suppressing laughter. This Fen Lin was really interesting. Mess with the big boys every time. Guduatu is the little princess of the Gu family among the 4 major families. She is usually very low-key, and as long as you don't take the initiative to provoke her, she will never cause you trouble. But messing with her will have serious consequences. Why? Guduatu asked calmly. I am your teacher. Fen Lin stood up and walked towards Guduatu, stretched out his hand, give it to me. Guduatu looked disdainful, turned off her phone and put it on the table, play it. And try it. I tell you, before he could finish his words, Fen Lin had already removed the phone and sat on the podium again. Fen Lin. You are so nice. I don't think you want the job anymore. Guduadu stood up and said, "You still dare to threaten me? Leave the phone here for now and let your parents come get it in person." Fen Lin simply put the phone in his pocket. Zhang Yashan almost laughed out loud. Guduadu's father was the head of the family. "Gu, a big shot like that I will come to you as a teacher." Tang Qian also covered her face helplessly, sighing in her heart, "If you want to find someone to establish your authority, at least ask me first. In advance you should not mess with in class. Every time I choose someone with such good experience. Fen Lin, let me tell you, you're done. Your cell phone. I'll call home. It's interesting." "No, you don't need to call. I'll call you." Fen Lin opened the other party's phone and found the address book, which contained the name tagged. He clicked to dial and pressed the speaker. Suddenly the class fell silent. All the students in the university were very mature and knew the identities of their classmates. For example, Guduadu. Many people in the class are trying to flatter her. If she graduates in the future, she will be able to work in her family's company. It would be a shame to say it. "What's wrong, girl?" A middle-aged man's voice came from the phone. "Hello, are you Guduadu's father?" Fen Lin picked up the phone and asked, "Who are you?" The middle-aged man opposite immediately became nervous. "I am Guduadu's teacher and counselor." She always wears headphones and looks at her phone in class. Not only does she not know her fault, but she also threatens me. I confiscated this phone. Come and get it when you have time. Fen Lin took the phone and told him. The man in front of him stood still for about 10 seconds without responding. He was stunned and thought his daughter had been kidnapped when he heard the man's voice. Unexpectedly, a simple counselor would dare to confiscate his daughter's mobile phone. "Okay, I understand. Thank you for your hard work, teacher. I'll have someone pick you up in the afternoon." "That's okay, I'll hang up." After Fen Lin finished speaking, he put away the phone and smiled at Guduadu. "You. Very good." Guduadu sat back in his seat and lay down on the table to sleep. "Get up, how dare you sleep in my class? Don't think that because you're cute, I won't dare to punish you." Fen Lin approached Guduadu again and found that she still hadn't moved, so he grabbed her hands. Hands with both hands, the ponytails like gripping the steering wheel, shaking from side to side. Shock. No one in the class knew what expressions to use. "Let it go." It was not Guduadu who said this, but Tang Qian. He couldn't bear that Fen Lin was so desperate, so he ran over, pinched Fen Lin's arm, and pushed him away. Tang Qian continued to wink at Fen Lin and pushed him to sit on the podium. Seeing this, everyone in the class regretted it. Careless. Tang Qian actually took advantage of such a good opportunity to flatter him just now. Guduadu's face turned red, whether out of anger or embarrassment. He coldly glanced at Fen Lin and left the classroom quickly. "Okay, everyone, sit down and continue with class." Fen Lin sat down with a calm expression and looked around calmly. Guduadu didn't return all morning and Fen Lin didn't care. After the 2 classes today, he was going to deal with the people following him. Just after leaving the school gate, he found many black people parked around him. Seeing Fen Lin appear, more than 20 people got out of the car and all approached Fen Lin. Fen Lin looked around and immediately ran towards the town village. These people were hot on their heels. Chapter 33 You are a teacher. Fen Lin did not run too fast and looked back from time to time, just because he was afraid that those human beings would not be able to perform well. It shouldn't be from the Song family. If they want to commit suicide, they definitely won't do it in a big way. Aside from the Song family, Fen Lin just provoked Guduadu. The university was originally located in the suburbs, but Fen Lin jumped directly under the road, making it impossible for their vehicles to drive. Finally we stopped on a hillside, where there were not many people. It's a good place for murder. After Fen Lin chased these people away, he pretended to rest here, believing that people who were unfavorable to him would definitely appear. The people behind noticed that Fen Lin stopped and thought that he could no longer run, so they all ran with all their might. Finally, the water surrounding the forest was blocked. "Brat. Aren't you really good at running? Grandpa, keep running. I'll break your legs." This group of people were in no hurry to act and seemed to be waiting for someone. Sure enough, the group of people moved out of the way and Guduadu walked over. "Fen Lin, aren't you so crazy? Do you really think I'm a vegetarian?" Guduadu stretched out his hand and shouted sternly, "Give me back your phone." The corners of Fen Lin's mouth raised slightly and the person following him also appeared. Everything is going according to his plan. Shit. Duadu, I didn't expect you to be so good. The teacher was wrong. Give me your phone back. Fen Lin took out his phone from his pocket and walked towards Gu Duoduo with a smile on his face, holding the phone in both hands. Gu Duoduo grabbed the phone and said coldly, "Humph, you think I will let you go like this? Don't even come here." Fen Lin hugged Gu Duoduo in his arms and strangled her. The people around him. HMPH. "I don't believe it anymore. Do you dare to kill me?" Gu Duoduo said with a gloomy face and ordered the people around him, "Do it for me and teach him a lesson." Phew. Gu Duoduo was talking, her expression changed, she suddenly turned red and made a strange sound. Fen Lin's hand was behind her buttocks and grabbed her sweatpants. "I really don't dare to kill you, but I dare to take off your pants in front of these people. If you don't believe me, try it," Fen Lin whispered in Gu Duoduo's ear. Gu Duoduo's face suddenly turned red. At this critical moment, Fen Lin might actually dare to do that. He took a deep breath and said calmly, "Let me go. I already have my phone. I won't lecture you anymore. Do you think I'm stupid? Let all these people retreat to the road." Fen Lin said calmly. Gu Duoduo nodded slightly. He knew that Fen Lin didn't dare to do anything to him. Listen to him. Yeah. Everyone here retreated to the road in the distance. When Fen Lin saw that those people were far away, he let go of Gu Duoduo and said, "You can go. I keep my word. I hope you do the same. It's still in the plan. After these people leave, Fen Lin pretends to be here, rest. This is a great place and that person will definitely get their hands dirty. Humph. I'll let you go this time." Gu Duoduo turned and left. Suddenly, Fen Lin's expression changed and he immediately ran over and pressed Gu Duoduo to the ground. "Fen Lin. What are you going to do?" Gu Duoduo's face was filled with anger. Just as he was about to curse, he discovered that there was a crossbow bolt stuck where he had just been. Oh. Fen Lin suddenly turned around and grabbed another incoming crossbow arrow. Gu Duoduo on the ground was shocked and his heart was filled with huge waves. The crossbow arrow was not fake, Fen Lin could catch it with one hand. Damn. A master like the opponent would definitely not make mistakes. His first shot was not a mistake. The target is Gu Duoduo. The other party was simply cruel and ruthless. At this moment, Gu Duoduo died here. Fen Lin jumped into the yellow river and was unable to Washington. Go quickly. Fen Lin said to Gu Duoduo. Gu Duoduo nodded. He felt that his head was completely blank and he had no courage to stay here. Fen Lin threw the crossbow arrow in his hand into the sky. The middle-aged man hidden on the hillside in the distance exclaimed, just looking at the crossbow arrow released by Fen Lin. The next moment, Fen Lin disappeared from his eyes. Stop looking for it, it's behind you. Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets and stepped on a stone next to him. Impossible. The middle-aged man looked stunned, suddenly turned around and shot at Fen Lin. Boom. Fen Lin whipped his leg and kicked the opponent in the neck. His body flew sideways and crashed into a large tree. Fallen leaves fly. Brother, your intentions are sinister. Aren't you here to kill me? It is very unethical to hurt innocent people. Fen Lin calmly approached with his hands in his trouser pockets. You are a master. The short-haired middle-aged man wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. It's not that high. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone, turned on the recording, and then asked, Tell me, who asked you to kill me? I am a man of my word. Tell me and I won't do it. Haha, anyway, the mission cannot be completed. The short-haired middle-aged man suddenly took out a dagger, pierced his body, and then fell. The corners of Fen Lin's mouth curled up slightly, and she sat on the stone next to him and looked at him silently. About half a minute later, the middle-aged man's motionless body began to move again and immediately covered his wound. In the face of people who are much stronger than you, you can kill yourself, pretend to be dead, and launch a surprise attack when they come to check. This is a good method. It seems that you have received professional training. Fen Lin held his chin and looked at him calmly. It takes a lot of courage to stab yourself. I didn't expect you not to be fooled. In fact, you're a master. I admit defeat and let's do it. The middle-aged man closed his eyes. I will give you 10 seconds to think. Think carefully about whether the other party is worth your life. In 10 seconds, you will die. Fen Lin pressed his hand on the stone next to him. Click. His fingers dug straight into the stone and grabbed a handful of gravel. 10 seconds have passed, it's someone. Fen Lin threw the gravel in his hand towards the opponent. Fen Lin took the other party's mobile phone and wallet, hummed a tune, and left. The dead man has not been able to make waves in his heart for a long time. Gu Duoduo and others had already left, and Fen Lin also followed this path, preparing to return. However, at the end of the road, there was a black Volkswagen parked. Seeing Fen Lin come in, Gu Duoduo came down from the back row. He suddenly pointed at Fen Lin. You did it on purpose. Right. That person is your friend. Fen Lin helplessly covered his face. This matter was true. It was beyond his expectations. He didn't expect the other party to attack Guduatu. Fen Lin really didn't know how to explain it, so he simply left without saying a word. Guduatu shouted from behind, but Fen Lin did not look back. She sat back in the back seat, really confused as to why anyone would want to kill her. It is very possible that Fen Lin did it on purpose. He wanted a hero to save the beauty, and that person was Fen Lin's friend. Seeing Fen Lin's disappearing back, he ordered the driver, come back again. She wanted to see if there was any sign of a fight. Chapter 34 Learn more physics. If there were no traces of fighting, which proved that Fen Lin and the other party were friends, perhaps the crossbow arrows were fake and couldn't kill anyone at all. Under the leadership of these people, Guduatu returned here again. He discovered that the crossbow arrows that had been stuck into the ground had disappeared. Look around and see if there are any traces of battle, such as crossbow arrows. Yeah. The people around him dispersed, looking this way. Guduatu stood where he was just now and looked back. According to the trajectory of the arrow above, it should be on the slope over there. Miss. Just as Guduatu was about to approach, a man in the distance shouted loudly, there is something wrong with the ground here. Not only Guduatu, but also other people around him gathered around. I found that the ground here was very wet and there was a hole. This shouldn't have been dug by anyone. This is a trace of a stone. Yes, the trajectory is also oval. There must be a stone before here. Guduatu nodded secretly and immediately ordered everyone. Look, find that stone A. The people around began to search and finally found the stone not far away. Guduatu looked at the stone and said to several people, push it. The three strong men here pushed the stone hard and only moved a little with all their strength. Stop. Although it was only a little bit, there was a space here. Guduatu turned on the flashlight on his phone and looked inside. Guduatu shouted as his face turned pale with fear. Several other people also looked inside, their expressions were abnormal, and there was a corpse here. Miss, what should I do? Asked the strong man next to her. Okay. Cover this stone and let's go back. Guduatu calmed down. In other words, this incident was not planned by Fen Lin. Someone really wanted to kill her, but Fen Lin saved her and killed the other person. Guduatu shook his head vigorously. How could it be possible? Fen Lin looked very young and was also a teacher. Phew. Guduatu suddenly began to feel nauseous and retching. He carefully recalled Fen Lin's expression just now. Could it be that he was injured? Thinking of this, he immediately got into the car and asked the driver to drive. Fen Lin studied his phone, there was nothing on it and he didn't bother to investigate. As long as he knew that it was from the Song family, that was enough. He took several $100s in cash from his wallet, threw away the cell phone card, and went to a cell phone store to sell the phone. I earned a total of 800 yuan from this job. Fen Lin even wanted to laugh. When I got home, I found Tang Hong washing clothes in the yard, her hair tied up and her face exposed. Being able to give birth to a daughter as beautiful as Tang Qian is enough to prove that Tang Hong has no bad appearance. Fen Lin walked over with a smile. Andy, have you come back so early today? Well, I found a job and will officially start work tomorrow, Tang Hong said with a smile. It would be great if it was so. It's an English teacher. Fen Lin took his phone and looked at it. It was a familiar number. Afterwards, after connecting it, he walked towards his room. Fen Lin, it's me. Guduatu. What's wrong? I want to call the police. I know you committed murder. If you don't want me to call the police, tell me your address immediately and I will come to find you, Guduatu said there. Fen Lin stretched. This girl was quite powerful, so he turned to look at her again. I can send you the address, but you have to come alone, said Fen Lin. On the phone. Okay, Guduatu nodded without hesitation. Fen Lin hung up the phone and sent a text message to the other party. Then I lay on the sofa and thought about the reason at all. He thought of this reason just to personally deceive Guduatu. He is a teacher and can't let his students know that he is a murderer. After a while, Fen Lin heard the sound of the parking lot and Guduatu's voice came. Fen Lin, is Fen Lin at home? Tang Hong was still washing clothes in the yard. He looked at Guduatu and said with a smile, Fen Lin is in the room. Mother. Guduatu looked at Tang Hong in surprise. She and Tang Qian were classmates in high school. More than once I saw Tang Hong picking up Tang Qian. Yes, are you? Tang Hong asked puzzled. I'm Tang Qian's classmate. I came to see the teacher today. Guduatu looked at the buildings here. No wonder Fen Lin and Tang Qian had such a good relationship. They used to live together. When I arrived at Fen Lin's room, I saw him lying on the sofa. Gu Duoduo immediately closed the door and Tang Hong couldn't hear what they were going to talk about next. Fen Lin, tell me what happened. It's better not to lie to me. Gu Duoduo approached Fen Lin. You are such an amazing girl. You are not even afraid of corpses. Fen Lin sat up from the sofa and looked at Gu Duoduo's face. I want to remind you that I am not young, I am an adult, Gu Duoduo said coldly. Fen Lin looked at Gu Duoduo gently. Isn't he small? Gu Duoduo immediately covered his body and turned around. Fen Lin, don't think I'm joking. I'll call the police. You can file a report. I am the victim anyway, so I can still file a complaint. You gathered a crowd to fight. Fen Lin looked indifferent. Gu Duoduo pursed his lips and said, I'm from one of the 4 major families, so I have many solutions. 4 major families. Fen Lin's expression froze. Like this, that was it. I was still wondering why that person attacked Gu Duoduo. Now he understands. He wanted Fen Lin to take the blame. If Gu Duoduo died alongside Fen Lin, the Gu family would definitely kill him. I'll tell you what happened. Fen Lin paused and told Gu Duoduo what he had just thought. 2 people were fighting to the death. One of them killed the other, and then found us and wanted to kill and shut up. Gu Duoduo was still thinking about the authenticity of this matter. The other party found that he couldn't kill us, so he ran away because he was also seriously injured. Fen Lin continued. In other words, did you bury that person? Gu Duoduo asked. That's right, the murderer escaped. I was afraid of being slandered, so I covered it with stones. How could you get such a heavy stone by yourself? Have you ever heard of a saying? Give me a foothold and I can do it. Move the earth and learn more about physics, you're a bastard. Fen Lin rolled her eyes and plonked down on the sofa again. Gu Duoduo was so angry that her teeth itched, but this logic worked. Maybe that's it. Anyway, you saved my life, our affairs are settled and I will never cause you trouble in the future. Gu Duoduo crossed his arms, puffed his mouth slightly, and turned to leave. Just when he reached the door, he turned and asked in a low voice, what is your relationship with Tang Qian? What is your relationship with her? Why do you always meddle in our affairs? Fen Lin asked in confusion. I remember that their conflict was because of Tang Qian. Chapter 35 Kill one and get one free. Gu Duoduo stopped as soon as he said a word. Anyway, I won't agree to you becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. Fen Lin crossed his legs and said with a smile. What should I do? I also need a woman. My friend, if you don't let Tang Qian follow me, will you be my girlfriend? In your dreams, I can find a woman. For you. Gu Duoduo said with a blushing face. Don't look for me. I have conditions. Not just any woman can get my attention. Fen Lin pointed at Gu Duoduo. It's you. If you don't let Tang Qian be with me, then you will have to be with me, otherwise there's nothing to do. Talk. You saved me today, I won't argue with you, let's talk tomorrow. Gu Duoduo opened the door, greeted Tang Hong and left here. At the same time, in the Song family mansion, there were only 4 people in the luxurious living room. Song Zhangtao, the head of the Song family, was sitting on the sofa in the main seat. Song Keming was still sitting in a wheelchair, his face haggard. Song Fan and the bearded man from before were sitting on a double sofa. Mr. Huang, haven't you logged in yet? Song Zhangtao's face was gloomy. The bearded man here is called Wang Wei, nicknamed Huzi. He is the strongest ancient warrior of the Song family and has entered the early stage of dark force. The practice of ancient warriors was to transform bright energy into dark energy. Min-Jin, as the name suggests, is an attack that can be seen. As long as you are human, you can use Min-Jin. Like punches and kicks. But most people will remain in the early Min-Jin stage throughout their lives. When they reach the middle Min-Jin stage, they are considered official ancient warriors, because they can use a type of power. Ki. You can see in the shots that they attack with great force. A blow can break a person's bones, and his physical strength is much stronger than that of ordinary people. As for Min-Jin's later stage, it is even more powerful. However, after reaching Min-Jin, he was already on a completely different level. Like gunpowder. When exposed to air and lit with fire, sparks will be emitted. But if you wrap gunpowder, hide it in paper, and make it into firecrackers, it will explode. The power increases several times. Wang Wei looked at the phone and shook his head slightly. It's probably gone. The faces of the Song family and the others turned pale and fell silent. What exactly is it about the Zhu family that makes Zhu Yan want to protect them even if they offend us? Song Fan pondered after a long time. Everyone thought that it was the Zhu family who killed the teacher they sent. Dad. You must avenge me. Song Keming growled darkly. Be quiet. Song Zenta put his hand on his chin, his eyes full of murderous intent. Mr. Wang, what else can you do? Wang Wei sighed deeply. Old Song, I will tell the truth about our relationship. We were offended. If we can't afford the Zhu family, it's fine for the rest of the Zhu family, but it's too difficult to deal with Zhu Yan. Song Zenta also closed his eyes weakly. He had long heard that Zhu Yan's strength that was terrifying. Wang Wei once personally said that even if there were more than a dozen of them together, none of them could match Zhu Yan. Are we going to swallow this bread? Song Keming slammed the wheelchair. No. There are ways, but they cost a lot of money. Wang Wei let the phone spin back and forth between his fingers. I know some powerful assassin organizations. As long as the money is available, I guarantee that you can take them down. Uncle Huang, you should have told me before. Song Keming smiled. About how much does it cost? Song Zenta is a businessman and does not engage in loss-making businesses. If you spend all your property just to kill some of them, then the gain outweighs the loss. I'll ask for you right away. First of all, I want to remind you that the more powerful and peaceful the country is, the more expensive it will be. Wang Wei took out his mobile phone and searched for the person's contact information. For example, the price of killing the same person in China is more than 10 times more expensive than killing him in the Middle East. I know. Song Zenta nodded slightly. As a businessman, he knew many people from different countries. China is considered one of the safest countries in the world. I got in touch. This is their business. There was a promotion recently. Kill one and get one free. Wang Wei took his mobile phone and sat next to Song Zhengtao, enlarging the picture sent by the other party. Song Zhengtao stared at the advertising information above. Song Fan from a distance also walked over in surprise and observed the image. The number of murders is directly proportional to the personal assets and social influence of the murdered person. Shit. For a person with assets worth more than 1 billion, the Middle East only needs 5 million, while China needs 500 million. 100 times more. Song Zhengtao frowned. Since he wanted to act, he would eradicate the root cause. Zhu Chuan's family of 3, plus Feng Lin. 4 will definitely cost more than 1 billion. Who knows if there won't be other charges. It is not a small amount. Old Song, look here, a 300 million all-inclusive event. Wang Wei pointed towards the bottom of the picture. Song Zhengtao stared at the words above carefully. To encourage new assassins, we released a package of 300 million for a 5-person activity. In 1 month, you can order the assassin to assassinate 5 people. This activity requires an advance payment of 100 million. If the task is not completed within 1 month, 1,000 will be refunded. Song Fan's eyes lit up. Dad. This is good. Mr. Wang, is this reliable? Song Zhengtao asked with a frown. This murderous organization is called Peony Flower and it is a well-known organization in the world. I can guarantee you that. Wang Wei patted his chest. It's okay. It's just 100 million, that's all. Song Zhengtao agreed. Feng Lin has been eating at Tang Huang's house these past few nights. He took out 10,000 yuan from his body and put it on the table. Andy, you can take this money and eat it all day. I'm sorry. These 10,000 yuan were given by Feng Lin himself from the previous group of gangsters. It is also not used. Tang Huang's family was not rich, so they ate meat every night just to cook for him. Feng Lin, you should know who I am. We owe you 300,000 and I can't bear it. Tang Huang shook his head vigorously. I hope you won't be angry about what I'm going to say next. Feng Lin put down his chopsticks and looked at Tang Qian. I like a good figure. My fiancé's figure is far from my ideal figure. Was eating. Tang Qian looked at Feng Lin, but still stuffed meat into her mouth. I have been observing Qian for 2 days. How much meat can I earn by eating only 2 buns at noon? Feng Lin pushed the money in front of Tang Qian. Take this money and treat it as a living expense. Tang Qian's mouth was like a squirrel at the moment. She chewed hard several times and swallowed the thing. Are you sure? Take it. After all, I'm also a university professor and you can still afford that food. Feng Lin stood up and smiled and said, I'm full. Tang Huang stretched out his hand and shouted, then sighed deeply. In fact, his family is not rich. It can be said that they are penniless. Mom, take it. When I graduate and earn money, I will pay him back 10 times what I owe him, Tang Qian said with a smile. From now on, add a glass of milk and an egg every morning. Feng Lin is right. In fact, you're too small. Men like bigger ones. Tang Huang looked at Tang Qian and said. Mom. Even you said that. Tang Qian muttered with a bulging mouth. P.S. My handsome brother, please have mercy on the child and give me some recommendation votes. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 36 I Can't See the Sun the Next Day. Another day. Zhuang, Zuchuan and others are almost familiar with the two bodyguards around them. Zuchuan and Wang Qing were at home giving orders to the company. As for Zhuang, she has a 300 million contract with the Zhu family and when she needs to go out to work, she takes a bodyguard with her. Fen Lin himself, like yesterday, walked along the road with great fanfare and arrived at the school alone. He entered the school and looked around strangely. No one was following him today. Arriving at class, Fen Lin lay down on the podium and yawned. After a year or two of depression, I suddenly woke up very early for several days in a row and my body still couldn't adjust. Master, I thought you were going to ask for a leave today. Zhang Naoshan, who was sitting in the back row, looked at Fen Lin in surprise. He heard that Fen Lin was chased by a group of people yesterday, but he didn't do it. I didn't expect that he was still standing. I also want to ask permission. Fen Lin stretched out and looked at Guduo. Isn't the lesson I taught you yesterday enough? How dare you look at your phone? Everyone around was speechless. Provoking Guduo was as soon as Du arrived. Wasn't the lesson you learned yesterday enough? Guduo snorted, took off his headphones, and put his phone next to him. This image surprised everyone around him. What's going on? Guduo actually gave in. Even Tang Qian was shocked and didn't know what Fen Lin had done. Teacher. Tang Qian stood up suddenly. This morning, the student union sent a message saying that each class will choose a program to celebrate the school's 60th anniversary tomorrow. Fen Lin scratched his head, but Tang Qian did not. Remind him that he also forgot that this guy was the monitor. Program. Who in our class is talented? Fen Lin looked around. Nobody answered. It's so embarrassing. Fen Lin stretched. If no one goes, I'll leave it to you Qian, just sing whatever song you want. Okay. I agree with this. Yes, I never have. I have heard about it. Qian is singing. Many girls in the class started talking one after another. Tang Qian is willing to help others and can chat with anyone, so she is very popular among the girls. Teacher, I hope you pay attention. This time there are rewards for the previous class. I heard that the counselor will receive a reward of 2,000 yuan, said Tang Qian. 2,000. Fen Lin raised his chin and showed a meaningful smile. Let me ask you something. Among the students in our school, who is a formation as powerful as Guduo? His words confused all the students. It turns out that you know Guduo's family. Why do you mention me so highly? Guduo said coldly. You have such a strong formation. If I ask you to perform in a show, what judge would dare not choose you? Fen Lin said with a smile. I won't go. Let me give you a raise, you're dreaming. Guduo patted the table. As for the other students around, they all looked at Fen Lin speechlessly. This teacher must be too real. How dare you say this kind of thing openly? I have decided that this time the show will be handed over to Tang Qian and Guduo, Fen Lin pointed out respectfully. He was very curious about the relationship between Guduo and Tang Qian. Guduo lay on the table, pretending to sleep. Anyway, I have decided on you. By the way, each of you will receive half of the 2,000 yuan reward. Fen Lin yawned again, lying on the podium. Let's study alone. During the break, Tang Qian took the initiative to sit in the classroom. Good classes. She originally didn't plan to go to Duo, but this time she was rewarded with 1,000 yuan. She certainly won't give up. Duo, since the teacher said that, let's think about a show, Tang Qian said in a low voice. Let me tell you first, I don't sin, it's too vulgar. Guduo turned around and said. Do you agree? That's great. Tang Qian nodded enthusiastically. Fen Lin, who was lying on the podium, became more and more curious as to why Guduo was so kind to Tang Qian. At the same time, the Song family mansion. A woman wearing a peaked cap and black casual clothes walked in with one hand in her trouser pocket and the other holding the suitcase. The Song family and others are waiting here. When they saw the woman in front of them, the Song family and others were surprised. Unexpectedly, after spending 100 million, the invited person turned out to be a woman. Hello, please tell me the password. Wang Wei took the phone and opened the text message sent there. It was like a verification code. To prove that it was not fake. 213, 250, 41. The woman in front of her took off her peaked cap, revealing a delicate face, probably around 20 years old. This person looks very innocent, like a student without social experience. It even feels a little silly and cute. Yes, it's this person. Wang Wei put away his phone and nodded towards Song Zhengtao. Ah. I'm so exhausted after a long night flight. Du Qingyu sat down on the sofa and ceremoniously took out an alpine paddle from his pocket and stuffed it into his mouth. When several people around saw this scene, their eyes widened and they didn't know what to do. Could it be that they met a liar? You must know that they have already given the other party 100 million and just sent a random person there with no intention of performing the task. When a month was over, he turned around and left, then returned 10 million to them and earned 90 million in vain. This kind of transaction is not on the table in the first place. Even if they are deceived by others, they can only admit that they are unlucky. Hello, I'm Song Zhengtao, your employer this time. Song Zhengtao took a few steps forward and said with a smile. My name is Du Qingyu. Miss Du, let me tell you first that this target will be protected by experts. Song Zhengtao tentatively asked, can Miss Du it alone? What? You don't believe in my abilities? Du Qingyu asked calmly. It's not that I don't believe it. The main thing is that the other party is protected by ancient warriors. I'm just afraid that the lady is in danger. Wow. Before Song Zhengtao finished speaking, a steel nail flew past his ear. With a bang, the steel nails penetrated the wall behind accurately. Song Zhengtao was so scared that he backed away repeatedly and almost lost his balance. Everyone looked back, feeling huge waves in their hearts. You're still not protected by ancient warriors. If it had been a little off, wouldn't you have died? Du Qingyu held the paddle in his hand and said calmly. Wang Wei whispered in Song Zhengtao's ear. That move just now is as good as mine. Maybe I am as strong as you, but you should know that I am a killer and will appear anywhere you are not. I didn't expect it. After Du Qingyu finished speaking, he put the lollipop in his mouth again. Ha ha ha. Miss Du, I'm sorry, but I'm blind. Song Zhengtao was very excited. He was indeed a master. Very strong. Song Fan and Song Keming also laughed out loud. It doesn't matter that they are so strong, the key is that they still look so pure and pleasant. If I could take her home as my wife, I would be very happy. Stop talking nonsense. Tell me who you want to kill, name and photo, and make sure he doesn't see the sun the next day. Du Qingyu looked at his watch. I'll kill one today first, and then always the rest of the night. Kill again. Okay. Listen to Miss. Song Fan took out Feng Lin's photo from his pocket. Miss, please look, this man is one of the targets. His name is Feng Lin. What? His name is Feng Lin. Du Qingyu suddenly said in shock, almost falling off the lollipop in his mouth. Chapter 37 It Earned Things. That's right. Do you know the lady? Song Fan asked strangely. I don't know. Du Qingyu looked at the photo and saw that it must be the same name. Miss, I would like to ask, if I capture the target alive, do I have to pay more? Song Keming asked from a wheelchair in the distance. Zhu Chuan and Wei Qin were of no use to him, so he could simply kill them. But it would be a shame to directly kill a beautiful woman like Zhu Boying. And Feng Lin, if he can be captured alive, he must be tortured. Song Keming was going to pour 20 bottles of Viagra on his opponent and make him explode. Of course you have to pay more. The technical content of capturing alive is much higher than killing. If you capture alive, you will get an extra 100 million. Du Qingyu put Feng Lin's photo in his pocket. Dad. I want to torture Feng Lin and Zhu Boying, Song Keming said coldly. Okay. We have seen Miss Du's strength, so let's add another 200 million, Song Zhengtao nodded. In total, the total is only 500 million, which is within the range. Feng Lin finally arrived at the end of school in the afternoon. Today's 2 English classes were in the morning and afternoon. It seems like I have to take the time to change it, which is a waste of time. He had just reached the school gate when a woman approached. This person is Du Qingyu. However, he was wearing a mask and a peaked cap, revealing only his clear, innocent eyes. Handsome boy, can you lend me some money? I lost my wallet and mobile phone, Du Qingyu said anxiously. Don't play this trick with me. Just give me your family's mobile phone number and I will call them. Transfers are very convenient nowadays. If this person is really lost, Feng Lin will ask his parents to transfer him through from WeChat money. If Feng Lin gave him money again, he would treat it as helping others. Du Qingyu was stunned for a moment, and said aggrieved, but I don't know my parents' mobile phone numbers. Borrowed from someone else. Feng Lin pursed his lips. Handsome boy, I beg you, only 100 yuan. Du Qingyu suddenly grabbed Feng Lin's hand and blinked slightly. I can stay with you all night. 100 yuan. So let's give it first. Let me look at I'm very picky. Fen Lin raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Of course, you have to prove that you are not infected with infectious diseases. When the other party grabbed Fen Lin, he also touched him with his backhand wrist. This person is a master and has reached the initial peak of Jin. His control over Qi is excellent and he must have a powerful concealment technique. Zhu Yan, a person in the late Jin stage, is not as good as her. While chatting with Fen Lin, he hid Qi in his body. Fen Lin didn't even realize that she was an ancient warrior. It seems that she is a teacher recruited by the Song family. Du Qingyu let go of Fen Lin's hand and pursed his lips. It's really unsentimental and meaningless. Haha, I'm just kidding. Fen Lin showed a shallow smile. I can't be considered a school leader in the school. Teacher, you must be the student who has a crush on me, right? I hate him. The teacher discovered it. Du Qingyu turned his face. She thought that the other party had not been fooled before. It seemed to be a sensual man. I have very high physical requirements for my partner. If you can catch up with me, I will let you have sex. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he ran towards the suburban road. Before Du Qingyu arrived, he had already checked the surrounding environment. In the direction of Fen Lin, there is an uninhabited road. This person is simply a fool. I'm just worried that I don't have a chance. He immediately followed Fen Lin's footsteps. Fen Lin was not very fast. Looking back from time to time, this woman should have experienced very few battles. Obviously there are such advanced concealment methods, but I can't learn or use them. Walking is nothing, but once you use your strength to run, the Qi in your body will be released as if it were nothing. Fen Lin looked around and felt that this place was almost ready. Before he could make a move, Du Qingyu behind him suddenly accelerated and appeared behind Fen Lin in an instant, aiming at Fen Lin's back. However, Fen Lin's body suddenly turned to the side and jumped to the ground below the road. The answer is good. Du Qingyu raised her eyebrows in surprise, followed Fen Lin, moved quickly, and caught up with Fen Lin again. This time she didn't take action, she simply stood in front of Fen Lin. So that you don't have a crush on me? Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and asked calmly. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Du Qingyu took out a black bag from his pocket. Tell me, put it on yourself or do you want me to help you? Fen Lin shrugged in distress. Beauty, if you use people's money to eliminate disasters for others, just go ahead and capture it. Killing you is like squeezing a man to death. Du Qingyu walked towards Fen Lin very casually without taking him seriously at all. Sure enough, he is not from the Song family. Fen Lin had felt strange before, but it was understandable to the Jin's first masters. But the hidden abilities in his body definitely come from a big organization. When Du Qingyu was 2 meters away from Fen Lin, he suddenly became angry and appeared in front of Fen Lin in the blink of an eye. He punched Fen Lin in the chest, preparing to knock him out. Broken. Fen Lin stretched out his paw and grabbed Du Qingyu's fist, pulling Du Qingyu's body closer to Fen Lin. Immediately afterwards, Fen Lin raised his knee. Boom. Du Qingyu's eyes widened and he was like a cannonball flying backwards, crawling on the ground for more than 10 meters before stopping. Du Qingyu's medical mask was dyed red by blood. Ignorant thing, with the skills of a 3-legged cat, do you still want to be an assassin? Fen Lin walked over disdainfully. Du Qingyu looked at Fen Lin in disbelief and felt like his internal organs were shattered. A pain like an electric current spread throughout his body and he had no strength to get up. He looked at Fen Lin approaching and suddenly waved his hand. Shout. A steel nail hit Fen Lin. At this critical moment, it is meaningless to be captured alive. Doorbell. A crisp sound rang out and Fen Lin stretched out 2 fingers to grasp the steel nail. Seeing this, Du Qingyu was desperate. If I had known earlier, I would have listened to my mother and stayed home. I didn't expect to die here on my first mission. Unknowingly, he shed tears. Don't cry in a hurry. What do I ask you and what do you answer? Fen Lin threw the steel nail to the ground. His move was good. If there are accomplices, attack Zhu Ruang and the others at point-blank range. Goen and Gou couldn't react at all. Tell me, how many of you are there this time? Where are they now? Fen Lin squatted next to Du Qingyu. HNPH. Du Qingyu snorted coldly, closed his eyes and said, kill if you want. I like women who talk with hardness. Fen Lin took out the dagger from his pocket and said to himself, merge of a male and female assassins. There's a big difference between the method and the experience after being caught. You should know that, right? Du Qingyu was so scared that her body was trembling. He hesitated and said, if you have the ability. If you have the ability, kill him. To me. You will not die, at least until I ask you for the news. Fen Lin grabbed Du Qingyu's hair and dragged her to the distant forests. Along the way, her peaked cap fell to the ground. Chapter 38. Is there such a good thing? Death is not terrible, the most terrible thing is the path to death. Du Qingyu is like this now. He doesn't know what awaits him next. The fear was now so oppressive that I couldn't breathe. Wow, and Wu is the eldest lady of the family. When have you experienced such horrible oppression? Finally he couldn't help it and burst into tears. Fen Lin turned around, let go of the other party's hair, and grabbed her shoulders. Click. Click. You bastard. Wu, Du Qingyu's arms suddenly fell, severe pain swept over his head, and he fell to the ground in pain. Don't worry, it's just a dislocation, so don't attack me while we play. Fen Lin hummed a tune, unzipped the other party's casual clothes, and put the jacket next to him. It's the same problem. Like before, tell me, I'll let you go. Aha, I won't say anything. Although Du Qingyu was scared, she had great self-confidence and could never embarrass her mother. Because she was still wearing a mask, and the mask she was covered in blood. Very unclear when speaking. Fen Lin used a dagger to cut the thread of the mask, exposing her face. You can still clearly see the blood on her mouth. Huh. Fen Lin was stunned. Why did he look familiar? He wiped the blood from his face with the mask, gradually revealing the woman's true appearance. His expression remained frozen for a long time. Shit. He turned to one of the women who was wearing a white dress. He pinched the other person's face carefully and found that they were actually the same person. Let me ask you something, is it you? Fen Lin pointed the photo of Du Qingyu. Du Qingyu was still crying bitterly, but he looked at the photo and asked in a choked voice, why do you have my photo? Fen Lin cursed secretly. It couldn't be a coincidence. How could it be possible? What about writing novels? What about making movies? Let me ask you something first. Are you familiar with the name Fen Lin? Fen Lin wanted to make sure. Fen Lin. You still have my photo? Could it be that you are my fiancé? Du Qingyu suddenly shouted and then started crying again. Grandma's. It's really you. Fen Lin immediately grabbed her arms and connected them. If his father knew that he hit his fiancée like that, he might beat himself to death. Du Qingyu endured the severe pain and continued to kick Fen Lin. He was kicking and crying, looking heartbroken. Fen Lin had no choice but to stay here. It's not my fault. Since you know I'm your fiancé, why did you kill me? Fen Lin picked up the coat from the ground and put it on his body. I've never seen you before. I thought you had the same name as him. Du Qingyu wiped away her tears and stood up unsteadily from the ground. Fen Lin immediately supported her. Go away. Do not touch me. I'm going to break the engagement with you. I won't marry you even if I die. Ouch. Du Qingyu shook Fen Lin's hand and wiped away her tears. There are such good things. No, are you sure? Fen Lin asked solemnly. In fact, when he knew that his fiancée was a murderer, Fen Lin immediately sent her away. This is far from my ideal woman. Marrying a murderer is better than taking Zeroing home. Of course. Even if you kneel and beg me, I won't marry you. Du Qingyu wiped her tears with her sleeves and said viciously. Fen Lin clapped her hands vigorously and couldn't help but laugh. Okay. Forget about our marriage, remember to tell your family that you proposed first. Du Qingyu was a little confused. This was different from thinking about it's different. According to common sense, Fen Lin shouldn't apologize to himself. By the way, sister, although we broke off the engagement, we're still friends. Please give up the task of assassinating me. Fen Lin, who was about to leave, turned around and said. HNPH. Do you think I'll give up? Anyway, you're not the only one who was killed this time. Du Qingyu stood up hesitantly and shouted at Fen Lin's back. I'm usually a very talkative person, but don't touch your nose or face. Fen Lin showed a faint smile. You will die. After saying that, Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets and left. Here, you are the one who was going to die. Du Qingyu cursed fiercely. After Fen Lin left, he immediately took out a small mirror from his pocket and wiped the blood on his hair and face. Fen Lin just returned home and found a cherry parked in front of his house and remembered the number of the car. License plate was Lanrao's car. I was just about to call you. Lanrao opened the window, poked her head out and smiled. What's the matter? Fen Lin walked over and sat in the passenger seat. Grandpa has something to ask you and I don't know what it is. Lanru stepped on the accelerator, turned around and left. At the Lan family mansion, Lanny was practicing Tai Chi on the grass in the courtyard. When she saw Fen Lin come in, she smiled and said hello, good afternoon, don't be so polite. What's wrong with you? Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets, standing next to Lanny. Drew, I'll talk to him alone. Lanny looked at Lanru and said with a smile. TCH. Lanrao puffed her lips slightly and headed towards the villa in the distance. Only Fen Lin and Lanny were left here. I have something to tell you. Lan looked at Feng Lin and pointed to the sky. We received news from above and discovered Yunan's whereabouts. Feng Lin, who was originally as calm as water, suddenly became cold and penetrating eyes. This woman is the number 3 who once died that night. That traitor. Aren't you curious where it is? Lan asked in surprise, originally thinking that he would be eager to ask. I have retired. There are so many masters in Wuji who shocked the world. If you want to kill her, you don't need to notify me, Feng Lin explained calmly. She appeared in White Village in the south of the Ants River. The exact location is in the cemetery outside the village, in front of Wang Lin's grave. Wang Lin was number 6 on the night of her death. Did Feng Lin secretly clench his fists, trying to show false mercy? If it hadn't been for her, Wang Lin would not have died. She appeared there and deliberately left a memory card with only a recording for you. Lan took out his mobile phone and explained while clicking. I have to say that Yunan is very smart, because this is the best way to find quick method. A very intellectual female voice came from the mobile phone. Hello boss, I am Yunan. I'm sorry I can't meet you face to face. After all, I am the person who in the first 5 seconds, you will remember our past, and then you will spend 2 seconds hesitating whether to kill me or not. After that, you will think of Lao Yu, and in the last seconds I will die. I left some good things for the boss, a family website, a family password. Help me say hello to the second master, I love you. The voice on the phone disappeared. Feng Lin, do you know why I am looking for you now? Since you have retired, hand over the thing she gave you. Lan put away the phone, raised his eyes and said. Let me use your home computer, Feng Lin said expressionlessly. Lanny pointed to the stone table next to him, with a black notebook on it. That one is special. You must know Yunan's hacking skills better than me. Feng Lin nodded, walked to the stone table and opened the laptop. He was also curious what the other party would give him. Chapter 39 Delivered Private Money. This is a new computer with nothing inside. The network used here is not the wireless network, but a special traffic card. Feng Lin opened the browser and entered a URL. This website was created by Yunan. Members of the original organization who were located in various parts of the world used this website to communicate with each other. After entering the URL, a dialog box appeared on the computer, with nothing in it, just a blank space. Feng Lin quickly entered his password and a download package appeared on the screen. Feng Lin first checked the contents of the download package, then turned around and said, they are all videos. Download it and see what it's doing, Lanny said, looking at the screen. Feng Lin nodded and downloaded all the videos. There are only 2 short videos in total, which are not long and only take about 10 seconds to download. Feng Lin clicked on the first video, which was a surveillance video filmed with a mobile phone. There was only one woman's back in the surveillance video. But Feng Lin could see at a glance that the person in the picture was Yunan. Immediately afterwards, Yunan's voice could be heard. This is the route I used to steal the information and escape. Boss, you must understand that there are undercover agents in the secret army. Feng Lin and Lanny looked at each other, their faces they were pale. No wonder she escaped so easily. However, I don't know who he is. When he sent me the message, he used a voice changer. After Yunan's voice finished speaking, the video ended. Feng Lin immediately clicked on the second video. This is a short video made from photographs, all of which are photographs of former Dead Knight members. Under the cheerful background music, Yunan's voice came. Obviously my mission is to be with you, but I still have feelings for you. The previous memory card was a lie to them. Boss, my current strength is not weaker than yours. You once said that your dream is to be with you. With you. I like people who live in the countryside and enjoy the tranquility. I said at the time that I did the same thing. I like you. I don't like peace of mind. Not at all. I have what I wanted. I let others do what they have to do. What are you doing? You and I are destined to be different people. Feng Lin rubbed his temples and leaned back in the rocking chair here. Lan uploaded these 2 videos to the country. What do you think he told us about the covert incident? Lanny, who was nearby, asked. Needless to say, a selfish person like her will definitely get rid of all her competitors and Epic Cake alone. Feng Lin shook her head slightly. That woman was hiding so deeply. So obsessed with power, but no one else on the night of his death noticed it. What will you do now? Lan asked. Feng Lin did not answer immediately. He asked, do you think this will Yunan? Is he a little crazy? Crazy? That's crazy. I don't take you seriously at all. Lan nodded vigorously. It was a shame that people like Feng Lin had nothing to do all the time. If you find her exact location, inform me and I will kill her. Feng Lin stood up from the couch. reclining, and said calmly, "I have been waiting for your words." Lan left. Fen Lin felt very comfortable. Now that he knew who Yunan was, the previous haze disappeared. Just after leaving Lan's house, he received the Godong's call. The other party told Fen Lin that his old monitor was planning to get married soon and would invite him to dinner today. It happened that several classmates from Zhang City were getting together to begin with. They were not from the same world, but Godong invited them like this and was too embarrassed to refuse. After Lan Rao sent him home, Fen Lin lay down on the sofa to rest. He remembered the previous assassin, so he sent him a message to Zhu Ruoying to ask them to pay attention. As soon as I took out my phone, I heard Zhu Ruoying's voice. Go followed her closely and entered the house together. Are you free tonight? To celebrate the official start of cooperation with the Zhu family, I would like to invite you and Ying to dinner. Zhu Ruoying walked in dressed in black sportswear with her trouser pockets inserted. Sorry, I don't have time tonight. I have a classmate who invites me to dinner. Fen Lin shook his head. Can I go? Zhu Ruoying asked. Forget it, you are so beautiful, I'm afraid other classmates will lose face. Fen Lin laughed a few times, mainly because she ruined Zhu Ruoying's reputation with Godong and Qianjing. He said she was a lover. It would be embarrassing if Zhu Ruoying found out. HNPH. Zhu Ruoying crossed her arms and nodded slightly. What you said makes sense, but I still want to go to save you from having an affair with those classmates. Fen Lin said helplessly, all my friends are normal people. You can go, but your identity must be kept secret. Don't worry, I will keep it secret if you don't tell me, otherwise, a group of people will definitely approach you. Zhu Ruoying has experienced this kind of thing, just like her former colleagues. After adding WeChat, I chatted with her all day and approached her in various ways. Ignore them, secretly saying that you're arrogant. Just ignore them, just slap them, lend them money, or ask them to introduce him to jobs, since it is necessary to keep it secret. A car worth $1 million is too obvious. It turned out that there was a shop selling electric cars in the urban village on the Fedland side. The meeting place was far away from here and it would be much more convenient to have an electric car, so Fen Lin took Zhu Ruoying there. Boss, how much is it? Fen Lin sat on a small black electric donkey and swayed slightly. Event, 2000 and we'll be gone, a square-faced man came out in the distance and said with a smile. Fen Lin touched his pocket and saw that he only had 800 yuan. The previous 10,000 yuan was handed over to Tang Huang. Pay up. Fen Lin looked at Zhu Ruoying next to him. You actually have so much private money, hand it over. Zhu Ruoying extended her jade hand and coldly looked at Fen Lin. Damn. I gave you the 100,000 I won last time. Can you show some respect? Fen Lin put the money in his pocket but refused to give it to him. I will keep it for you and hand it to you, otherwise I won't buy you a car and make a big fuss at your party. Zhu Ruoying looked at Fen Lin. Fen Lin rolled her eyes. It's your grandmother's. She had no choice but to give all the money to Zhu Ruoying. Zhu Ruoying was still uncomfortable and found more than 20 yuan in change from Fen Lin's pocket. Won't you leave me a penny? Fen Lin asked. I'll give you 100. Ask me when you've spent it. I do it for your own good. Men can't have too much money. I believe you, but I don't believe in those women, Zhu Ruoying said seriously, like a mother lying to her children. New Year's red envelope. Fen Lin cursed secretly, clearly not believing himself. Zhu Ruoying bought Fen Lin a black electric car. After being fully charged at home, they rode their electric bicycles to the meeting place at dusk. Fen Lin panted slightly and finally ran here. Zhu Ruoying is a good and respectful citizen of the law. Zhang City clearly stipulates that driving with people in electric vehicles is not allowed within the city's third ring road. Then Fen Lin's electric car was stolen, and he could only run and follow it. Knew before, I would have taken a taxi. Fen Lin. Are you Fen Lin? At this moment, a fat man with a big belly came from a distance. Do you still remember me? Little fatty, Zhang Fei. Of course you remember, little fatty, we were the same family back then. Table. Fen Lin smiled and shook hands with Zhang Fei. They were sitting in the corner of the back row and had a good relationship. Who was it? Zhang Fei looked at Zhu Ruoying next to him. Could it be sister-in-law? Zhu Ruoying seemed a little unnatural, but she still smiled and pursed her lips. Hello? Oh. Brother Lin, what the hell are you doing? Did you find a fairy sister? Zhang Fei couldn't help but exclaimed. Fen Lin at this time, of the BMW approached from a distance and Godong and Qianjin got off. Fen Lin looked at this BMW. It was a series of BMW, the lowest configuration. It appears to be a few years old. I don't know if it was rented or bought second-hand. Fen Lin sees it but doesn't say it. Everyone has the right to pretend. Zhang Fei ran over and shouted in shock. Shit. Brother Dong, this is a BMW, how amazing. Chapter 40. Do you have a job now? Godong smiled and closed the car door, nodding slightly. Generally speaking, I just want to make some money. Zhang Fei smiled and narrowed her eyes. Is this sister-in-law by my side? Hello, my name is Qian Jing. Hello, sister-in-law, I'm Zhang Fei, you can call me Zhopang. Zhang Fei introduced himself. Qian Jing's eyes suddenly looked towards Feng Lin and found that the woman next to him always looked familiar. But when I saw Zhu Ruan's peerless figure from the side, I suddenly remembered. This person is the lover from before. Godong also noticed Zhu Ruan. After all, that woman was too conspicuous in the crowd. Feng Lin, is this your girlfriend? Qian Jing walked over and asked. He didn't expect Feng Lin to take the initiative to flirt with this vixen. However, from their point of view, this is normal. Once students graduate, everyone knows exactly why they gather. To put it bluntly, it's just a word. Pack. Feng Lin probably didn't have much money, so he could only find this woman and pretend to have a beautiful girlfriend. Hello, I'm your girlfriend, Zhu Ruan walked over and said. Yes, Qian Jing nodded very indifferently and turned around, not wanting to talk to her. Zhu Ruan looked at Feng Lin strangely, as if he would not provoke her if she asked again. Feng Lin simply smiled at Zhu Ruan, who probably looked down on Zhu Ruan for being the mistress. But she definitely couldn't tell the truth, so she could only whisper in Zhu Ruan's ear. I have told you for a long time that you are so beautiful that other people have no face. Zhu Ruan snorted lightly. He didn't say it, his unhappiness was false. Before long, more and more people gathered here. There were probably about 10 of them. Finally, a Mercedes-Benz GLC was parked in the farthest parking space. This time the whim was arrived. 2 people came down from above. One of the men had permed hair and was wearing a black suit. The woman was wearing a beige dress, dressed very simply, without makeup on her face, giving people the feeling of a girl next door. The monitor is here. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Haha, the study committee members are here too. When I was in high school, I thought you would be a good match. The monitor is still amazing, and he got the beauty of our class. Everyone here went to congratulate, but Feng Lin and Zhu Ruan stayed here and didn't come over. Why don't you go? That woman seems to be your type. Zhu Ruan looked into the distance. I'm not familiar. Feng Lin rolled his eyes, always feeling that Zhu Ruan's words were a little strange. Their squad leader's name is Li Lei and his family owns a shopping mall. Although he is far from the really rich second generation in Zhang City, he is the richest person in his class. As for the woman, her name is Zhao Qing. She comes from a poor family and was the top student in her class at the time. In high school, Li Lei had been chasing Zhao Qing, but Zhao Qing did not agree. Unexpectedly, 5 or 6 years later, the two are still together. I really envy Zhao Qing. At this moment, Qian Jing walked towards Feng Lin. Why are you envious? I think Godong treats you well, Feng Lin said calmly. I heard from Godong that Zhao Qing in high school did not abandon Li Lei, thinking that her grades would definitely make her stand out. Qian Jing looked into the distance and she explained in a low voice. After 4 years of college graduation, she still has to graduate from college. Starting as an ordinary employee, after working for several years, the monthly salary is only 5 or 6,000. Zhu Ruan nodded secretly, as the head of the company. I still know a lot about salaries in Zhang City. In addition to special professions such as programmers, ordinary college graduates can earn a salary of 4 to 5,000, which is already very good. I heard that she was defeated by reality and went to find Li Lei. Li Lei broke up with his girlfriend on the spot and chose to be with Zhao Qing. Qian Jing's eyes were full of envy. It would be great if this woman washing machine. Feng Lin and Zhu Ruan looked at each other, not expecting such envy. Isn't it Feng Lin? Are you also in Zhang City? We haven't seen him for many years. Li Lei took Zhao Qing's hand and walked towards Feng Lin. When they were in high school, the two had conflicts. The cause was none other than Zhao Qing. There was a time when Feng Lin and Zhao Qing were very close, because during the time, Feng Lin treated his father. Later, I took care of chores, so we never crossed paths again. Zhao Qing looked at Feng Lin in front of him, his eyes full of energy. I have been working in other places before. In terms of salaries, the salaries here are definitely not as good as those in big cities. Feng Lin nodded with a smile. Is this your girlfriend? Li Lei suddenly looked at Zhu Ruan in shock. Although she was wearing normal sports clothes, she still couldn't hide her impressive figure. Height, body, proportions, face. As for female appearance, almost everything is full. Following Lilei's gaze, many students around him also gathered, but at this moment they only paid attention to Lilei. I didn't expect that there was such a beautiful woman in the corner. In such a comparison, the previously brilliant Zhao King instantly dimmed. Hello, Zhu Ruang nodded slightly. It seemed that Lilei didn't know her and was probably not at a high level. Everyone has their own circle. Zhu Ruang is the boss, not a star. It is normal that these people do not know each other. Ha ha ha. Fen Lin, who has been skipping class, can find such a beautiful girlfriend. Lilei took a deep look at Zhu Ruang, turned around and said with a smile, "Everyone, follow me." Fen Lin took the one from Zhu Ruang. Hanan followed behind these people. So you've been skipping classes at school. I, a top student, will be at a disadvantage if I'm with you, you bastard. Zhu Ruang whispered in Fen Lin's ear. Fen Lin rolled his eyes and skipped class because he was doing an assignment. What's more, he learned the knowledge from textbooks in high school when he was a teenager. In a private room of a luxury restaurant, a group of people sat around a large round table. Fen Lin and Zhu Ruang were sitting together. To Zhu Ruang's left was Qian Jing and to Fen Lin's right was Zhang Feifei. It's okay, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Let me get straight to the point. Recently, my family gave me 5 million to start a business. Lilei raised his chin and looked at everyone around him with a smile. Smile. Shit. 5 million. As expected of the squad leader, no, you should call me Mr. Li now, Go Dongjian flattered him. Others around him also began to congratulate. Don't worry, we are old classmates. I have meat to eat and I guarantee you will have soup to drink. When Lilei spoke, his eyes always glanced at Zhu Ruang from time to time. This woman became more and more beautiful as he looked at her. What Mr. Li means is that he is willing to accept us and become the founders of his new company. Zhang Feifei said excitedly. When everyone heard this, they were overjoyed. This opportunity cannot be missed. I don't say polite words between brothers and sisters. If you want to start a business, you have to do your best. It's definitely not for fun. As Lilei spoke, food and wine were also served here. Zhang Feifei immediately stood up and acted as a waiter, first filling the cups in front of Lilei and Zhao King. The squad leader is right. You still have to be careful when selecting people. That's right. If you can use us, just say so. Several men patted their chests and calmed down. I have a few candidates here. The first is Godong. He was a speaker when he was in school. Now I heard that he has been working in sales for a few years and is articulate. Godong and Qian Jin looked on. They stood up excitedly, and Lilei raised his glass. Don't get excited, we are all our own people. Lilei returned his attention to Zhu Ruang and said with a smile, do you have a job now? When everyone around saw this, their expressions were a little abnormal. Bypassing Fen Lin and finding his girlfriend directly. The middle meaning is that something is wrong. Sorry, squad leader, my girls have work. Fen Lin put his arm around Zhu Ruang's shoulders and refused with a smile. Chapter 41. Can you take me? Lilei suddenly raised his head and left. Fen Lin, you're not thinking madly, are you? Don't bully your friends' wives. I don't have such evil thoughts. That's right, Fen Lin, I've been in sales for several years and I'm pretty good at it. After many important events, this world is all about appearance. Beautiful women will receive more orders. Godong immediately spoke to help Lilei. What I heard from Lilei just now is that he was planning to make him a manager. You should grab this string. That's right. A person's image is the first impression a customer has of a company. Zhang Feifei also put his hand on Fen Lin's shoulder. Brother Lin, take the opportunity. Zhu Ruang showed a slight smile. I am optimistic about my current situation. The work is quite satisfying. You should first listen to the position and salary I gave you. Lilei raised his glass with a smile. I want you to be my secretary and take my place directly. Secretary. Everyone seemed to be smiling because they had all heard a sentence. Be a secretary when you have something to do, and be a secretary when you have nothing to do. Zhao King's face turned livid when she heard this and she continued to lower her head. Had to eat the food. Speaking of which, I have never seen secretaries who are not beautiful. I usually go out to socialize with Mr. Li. If others see you beautiful, you must have a good impression of the company. He smiled and looked at Zhu Ruang. Now, no matter what happens, everyone will be on Lilei's side. Not bad. I like to tell the truth. I like you because you are beautiful. Lilei raised a finger and looked at Zhu Ruang with a smile. The basic salary is 10,000, and if you perform well, I can even give you shares in the company. Yes. Everyone around was shocked when they heard this. Zhang City is not a top-tier city, it is far from a big city like Yanjing Magic City. Almost none of the people present had a monthly salary of more than 10,000 yuan. Lin, someone like you probably didn't go to college, right? You can't do it in business, so I'll let you be the head of security. Lily took the wine glass, stood up and said, of course, I'm just suggesting, not forcing. Let's all have a drink first. Everyone raised their glasses. Fen Lin smiled at Zhu Boying. Anyway, it was just dinner. It doesn't matter, let them pretend and everything will be over. Suddenly, Fen Lin's cell phone rang and he looked at Keong Kian's call. He stood up, smiled at several people and said, sorry, home phone number. After saying that, Fen Lin left the private room. After leaving, Fen Lin answered the phone. Phone and asked with a smile, what's wrong? My mother asked me to ask you, where have you been? If you don't come home so late, I'm afraid you are in danger. Tan Keong Kian was there, Bean said angrily. Fen Lin suddenly realized that he had forgotten to inform them. Sorry for meeting my classmates. I know. Tan Keong Kian hung up the phone. Fen Lin put the cell phone in his pocket and prepared to go to the bathroom. Just in time to see Zhao King coming out, his eyes changed. After a while, he showed a slight smile and asked, how have you been these past few years? Not bad, how about you? Fen Lin asked politely. Not good, Zhao King said calmly. Suddenly, Fen Lin didn't know how to speak, so he could only say casually, how many people envy you for finding a rich boyfriend before it's too late? Lily wants to do this to your girlfriend. What? Zhao King lowered her head and felt her nose hurt a little. Fen Lin, can you take me out of the city? Are you crazy? I have a girlfriend and we love each other very much. Fen Lin frowned. Together. Haha. Sorry, I drank some wine. Zhao King nodded apologetically and walked towards the bathroom. Fen Lin looked at the other person's back and shook his head slightly. Life is like this, how can everything go as planned? Brother Lin. Come have a drink. We haven't seen each other for so many years, so I called before having a drink. Zhang Fei saw Fen Lin coming in and took his arm. Fen Lin nodded and raised his wine glass. While several people drank their fill, the door of the private room suddenly opened and a bald man grabbed Zhao King's hair and threw her to the ground. There was blood on the forehead of the strong man. Your grandmother's. Whose horse? Defend me. The bald man shouted loudly to everyone. Lily slammed the table. She is my woman. Fen Lin sat at the door, bent down to help Zhao King up, and asked in a low voice, what happened? I came out of the bathroom and he was okay. I moved my hands and feet and hit his head with the flower pot under the mirror. Zhao King covered her face and said that there was a bright red slap mark on her face. It was obviously the opponent who beat him. Hearing this, all the men present stood up. This incident was not Zhao King's fault. They will not let go of this opportunity to flatter him. You took the first step. How dare you bark in front of us? Immediately apologize to my sister-in-law. Believe it or not, I'm going to kill you. Who wants to kill? My older brother. At this moment, a group of people in suits appeared. Strong men entered. They were all very strong, and at first glance, they were all members of the Lian family. There were more than a dozen of them, and the private room was almost full. Although there were more than a dozen on Fen Lin's side, there were only 8 men. Seeing this situation, the man who was standing awkwardly sat back down and showed a polite smile. It's okay to be in the crowd, but if you really want Lilei to defeat you, you still need to think carefully. But Lilei was still standing and could not be ashamed of this situation. Who are you playing with? Lilei took out his cell phone and said calmly. Should I clean you up? Did you meet anyone? Who do you want to talk to first? The bald man asked, covering the wound on his head. Brother Niu, have you heard of him? We often drink together. Lilei is also considered a second-generation young man, and there must be people around him. After all, you can get paid to work for him. Niu. Matt would dare to call him brother. The bald man smiled disdainfully, turned around and said, call him. All right. A strong man with a crew cut dialed the phone and pressed the speaker. After a few busy signals, a voice came from the other side. What's wrong, brother Zhang? Zhang, you are so amazing now, how dare I mess with you? Bald head yelled into the phone. You are, brother too. It's unfair, brother too, how dare my people provoke you? Niu's voice was a little scared. Lilei's face was pale as paper. He didn't expect the leader of the gangsters he knew to be so scared. Brother Niu, it's me, Lilei. Lilei. Brother too, this person is not mine. I just work as a thug for him. We have nothing to do with him. When Niu found out that it was Lilei, he immediately left the relationship. Okay, it's none of your business, brother two motioned to the person next to him to hang up the phone. The other men sitting here were a little lost. It seems like they have met a big shot. They were just ordinary workers and never expected to provoke those people. Brother 2 looked at Lilay with a sneer on his face. 2 options. 1. Your wife will go with me. I want her to apologize properly. No. Lilay flatly refused. If this matter comes to light, how will it raise its head in the future? Then the second thing is that all the men here will use wine bottles to smash their heads like this. Brother 2 said, pointing to the wound on his forehead. Go away now. I'm going to call the police now. Zurwine couldn't stand it anymore, took out her cell phone and said sternly. Damn. I didn't see that there was a beautiful woman, please retaliate. As long as you dare, you must be careful in the future, maybe you will be hit by a car and die one day. Let's say that Brother 2's words made everyone here scared. What they fear most when provoking such an important fish is the subsequent revenge. Boss, I thought you fell into the bathroom. At this moment, a familiar bearded man appeared here. Fenlin took a closer look and saw that this was not the one who pretended to be a bitch in front of him before and gave Fenlin 10,000 yuan. Chapter 42 Crazy Track. Everyone around him didn't know what to do. I knew it wouldn't come to this party. Mr. Sun, something happened. Let's talk about our business later. Liu 2 turned around and smiled apologetically. Damn. What happened to Mr. 2? Did someone cut his head open? Some cunt exclaimed, what the hell? Who doesn't want to hang out? Everyone sitting here was scared. This big brother, I didn't see him off, but I didn't expect another big brother to come. Zhao King gritted her teeth, straightened her back and looked at Liu 2, I'll go with you and apologize. She did not step forward immediately, as if she was waiting for Lilay to stop her. A strong no. But Lilay did not move or say a word. He had just taken 2 steps when they grabbed his hand. This person is not Lilay, but Fenlin, who was sitting at the door. Fenlin stood up and pointed his finger at Sun Kun outside, come here. Sun Kun looked at him proudly, thinking that no one with good eyesight would dare to talk to him like that. Take a closer look and clean it. Isn't this the big brother I met last time? It still seems incredible to him that this man is very strong. Nowadays he doesn't have many younger brothers, so he definitely won't be able to defeat Fenlin. He works for the Song family and manages some casual entertainment venues. As for Liu 2, he followed Sister Yi from Zhang City. Sister Yi owns many entertainment venues and is known as the underground big sister in Zhang City. He and Liu 2 had a good relationship on the surface, but privately they wanted the other to die. If they face Fenlin this time, they will definitely not help. Fenlin. You're crazy. Zurwine gently pulled Fenlin's arm. These people are not the gangsters who opened the casino. These people can eat in such an exclusive place and they all wear suits. They are definitely not ordinary people. Others thought the same. This bearded man can chat and laugh with a bald man in front of him. The status should be more or less the same. However, they did not dare to speak. All he could do was wait silently for the scene of Fenlin being beaten. Hee. Since he couldn't fight, Sun Kun naturally chose the safest path. He smiled and asked, what happened? Everyone around was shocked to see this. Fenlin really knew this big shot. When my friend was going to the bathroom, this bald man touched and kicked me. My friend slacked him. To save my face, forget it, Fenlin said calmly. Sun Kun nodded slightly and Fenlin spoke in that tone, which saved his face. She looked at Liu 2 with a smile and said, Boss 2, he is my good brother. Forget it. After all, it won't sound good if you do something first. Zurwine's beautiful eyes widened in shock. Fenlin was actually talking to this person. Is the bearded person an acquaintance? As for Fenlin's classmates, they were all shocked and speechless. They secretly looked at Lilay, the older brother they knew, and were afraid of this bald man. But Fenlin's brother has the same status as bald. At a glance it is clear who was better, Fenlin or Lilay. Lilay didn't expect it either, if the beard just now was Fenlin's recognized boss. It can still be explained, but Fenlin's tone of voice was completely that of an ordinary person, even a little condescending. Forget it. He thinks I'm unlucky. Liu 2 looked at Sun Kun, but this time he represented the Song family. Sister Yi gave special instructions. This time she was here to talk business and not to cause trouble. Seeing these people retreat, Sun Kun smiled at Fenlin and said, eat well and drink well. Before leaving, he didn't forget to close the door of the private room. All the outsiders were gone and the entire private room was still silent. The first to break through was Zhang Feifei. Damn. Brother Lin, it turns out that you are the real boss. Fenlin, you're not joining that kind of organization, are you? Godong asked from the side. No, it's just an acquaintance. Fen Lin shook his head with a smile, pointed to the dining table and said, "Let's continue eating." Zhao King smiled gratefully at Fen Lin and sat back down. Ha ha ha. Yes. Let's continue eating. Lilei smoothed things over with a smile and said to Fen Lin in a deep voice, "It's best to stay away from them in the future. Those people are not good people." "Don't worry, I'm Wen people." Fen Lin nodded with a smile. "After what happened just now, everyone here is a little tired and wants to leave quickly." Then everyone dispersed. Before leaving, Zhao King suddenly walked up to Fen Lin and said with a smile, "Thank you for your help now. Let's have wet chat." Lilei's face turned a little green, but now he could only swallow his breath. Getting angry now gives the impression of incompetent anger. In front of the big shots, he was too afraid to fall and became the boss among his own people. Fen Lin did not refuse. After adding wet chat, he asked Zhu Ruang to ride the electric bicycle while he sat in the back seat and left. Not long after they left, a Mercedes-Benz S-Class parked here also started to leave, heading towards Fen Lin. Wasn't this car driven by that woman before? Qian Jin remembered the license plate number, XU888, also frowned slightly, feeling that Feng Lin was becoming more and more mysterious. That woman likes you and keeps looking at you while eating. Zhu Ruang was riding a bicycle in front, the afternoon breeze blowing our hair. Speaking of which, I haven't ridden one electric bike like this in a long time and it feels pretty good. I'm used to it. It's so good. Fen Lin smiled slightly. Duh. Shameless. Zhu Ruang spat and took Fen Lin to a little area. Did we go the wrong way? The car battery is low. Sleep here today. Zhu Ruang took Fen Lin to a little area. After arriving here, the car driven by Gou also parked in the parking space in front of the door. Fen Lin. Suddenly, Lan Rao got out of her car and saw Fen Lin sitting behind the electric car. Seeing this, Zhu Ruang immediately turned the car handle all the way and took Fen Lin home. Lan Ru ran over and found that his two families were on a road in the area of this villa. There are only two villas in the middle, separated by only more than 50 meters. When Zhu Ruang opened the door, Lan Rao followed him and grabbed Fen Lin's arm. Lan Rao said with an agreed look, "Fen Lin, are you staying with her tonight?" No. Haha. My electric car ran out of power, I just want to charge it. Fen Lin said. Awkwardly. He just wants to live with me. Madam, why is he still chasing me? Zhu Ruang grabbed Fen Lin's other arm and pulled her towards her house. Lan Rao pretended to be very weak in front of Fen Lin and was no match for Zhu Ruang. She and she were dragged into the villa. Get out. Zhu Ruang pointed at Lan Rao and shouted. Lan Rao hugged Fen Lin's arm tightly. I won't go out unless Fen Lin goes out with me. You give up. Will Fen Lin sleep with me today? Zhu Ruang also grabbed Fen Lin's arm, fearing that he would run away. Fen Lin, come back to me. I will make you sleep and tell you stories, Lan Rao said timidly to Fen Lin. After hearing this, Fen Lin immediately shook off Zhu Ruang's hand. Lan Rao and I left, mainly because I like listening to stories. Zhu Ruang's face turned red, this shameless guy. However, for now, it is better to fool Fen Lin first and be determined not to let him and Lan Rao leave. Fen Lin. I only have one room with bedding, so it may be full today, Zhu Ruang began to hint wildly. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in the world of incredible novels. Chapter 43. Ugly. Fen Lin's expression suddenly became serious. He smiled and pushed away Lan Rao's hand. I drank some wine today and my head is a little dizzy. I don't want to move anymore. I'd better rest here. Lan Rao rolled her eyes. They make you dizzy. He was still wide awake at this time, and after hearing Zhu Ruang's hint, he didn't plan to leave. However, Lan Rao has her own personality. If she is more serious than Zhu Ruang, she is not herself. Once a person grows up, there will always be many personalities. This is a sign of maturity and will not be as single as a child. Different people have different personalities. For example, when you face your elders and your friends, they are basically two completely different people. That is the case of Lan Ru. His true character is revealed when he confronts people he knows very well. In front of Fen Lin, she naturally had to show her little fairy side. I'll sleep here today too, Fen Lin. I decided to have a good chat with Zhu Ruang to resolve the misunderstanding between us. Lan Rao thought of a perfect solution, as long as she and Zhu Ruang slept together. Even if Fen Lin thought about it in his heart, he wouldn't dare to go there because of his face. Humans are not animals and reason can often defeat primitive animal nature. Who wants to sleep with you? Zhu Ruang pursed her lips. Then you sleep with Fen Lin. I'll sleep on the sofa today, Lan Rao said calmly. How could Zhu Ruoying sleep with Fen Lin? What he just said was just to trip Fen Lin into staying. Autumn. Fen Lin, today you can sleep on the sofa and I will sleep with Lan Rao. Zhu Ruoying could only agree, because this was the best way. Its purpose was simply to prevent Lan Rao and Fen Lin from passing through their world. TCH, all women are big liars, Fen Lin muttered lightly and lay down on the sofa. Zhu Ruoying and Lan Rao went up to the second floor. This is an area of villas. The structure of their houses is the same, but the decoration is slightly different. Although Lan Rao had never been to Zhu Ruoying's house, she still found the master bedroom familiar. I'm going to take a shower first. Lan Rao turned to Zhu Ruoying and said. Zhu Ruoying nodded, took out a key from the dresser drawer, and opened the door of the side bedroom on the second floor. He took out his quilt from the cabinet, stood in front of the railing on the second floor, and said to Fen Lin below, "Come here, use my quilt. I guess you still have some conscience." Fen Lin left. He approached, spread all the bedding, lay down on it and smelled it carefully. There was a very pleasant fragrance. Before leaving, Zhu Ruoying pointed to her room opposite. "If you dare to knock on my room door at night, your legs will be broken." "I was afraid you would knock on my door," Fen Lin shouted, but she didn't. So boring, as if he had never seen a woman before. Zhu Ruoying returned to the room and closed the door. Lan Rao had already rushed over. At this time her hair was scattered and her glasses were placed on the cabinet next to her. Zhu Ruoying also ran down casually and came out with a bath towel. "I didn't expect the two of us to sleep together," Lan Rao sighed. The two had bought a house here at the same time since they graduated from college and started working. He almost looked up and down, but never said a word. "I'm surprised too." Zhu Ruoying sat on the bed and asked flatly, "What do you think is good about that bastard Fen Lin? He's not good enough for you. You should have a better man." "Just I like it." Status. "People who are shorter than me are easy to control. I advise you to leave it. You know my character. No one can take away what I like." Lan Rao looked at Zhu Ruoying with a calm expression. Fen Lin's identity, even her father couldn't tell. What's more, it is Zhu Ruoying. "What a coincidence, I'm the same Zhu Ruoying." Tit for tat, stretched lazily, showing her perfect figure. "Everyone knows the competition between us. I won from the beginning, and I beat you too much. It's over. Cut it. It's just fat. Look how proud you are, sooner or later it will sink." Lan Rao pursed her lips. "Just tell me if you're envious. I'll be prettier than you now when I grow up." "Beautiful. Beautiful." The two were chatting when they suddenly grabbed each other's hair and started tearing it. Fen Lin opened her eyes and looked. It was 11 o'clock at night. How could he still hear the movement in the room opposite? It seemed like we had a good conversation. Fen Lin stretched out and prepared to rest. But at this moment, his eyes widened. Suddenly he heard footsteps. Someone jumped into the courtyard of Zhu Ruoying's villa. Although the other party tried to keep his steps as light as possible, the vibration from the wall to the ground clearly reached Fen Lin's ears. It must be a small animal. Just when Fen Lin was thinking about who it was, the opponent suddenly accelerated. Zhu Ruoying's window. Fen Lin immediately got up and opened the door. Years of fighting have made him develop a habit. That means resting in a strange place and never taking off his clothes to sleep. "Open the door." Fen Lin patted the door of Zhu Ruoying's room, and after 2 times, he used his secret power boom. The lock on the door was instantly deactivated, and Fen Lin violently opened it. What caught his attention was the door. Dim light from the desk lamp. But Fen Lin could still see Zhu Ruoying and Lan Rao clearly. His hair was like a chicken coop. Lan Rao was at the advantage, riding on Zhu Ruoying's body. Their scene seemed to be frozen in everyone. They looked at Fen Lin blankly. However, Fen Lin just glanced at them casually, then immediately walked to the window and opened the curtains. He should have heard Fen Lin knocking on the door just now. The other party escaped. The power he exuded was similar to Du King Yu before. At least it's her. Unexpectedly, she refused to listen and actually dared to go to Zhu Ruoying. If it weren't for being here tonight, something might have happened to Zhu Ruoying. It seems that this threat needs to be removed. Fen Lin closed the curtains again, turned around with a solemn expression, and was about to leave. At this moment, Zhu Ruoying and Lan Rao finally reacted. However, reality is not a movie. A woman's first reaction in this situation is definitely not to scream. In fact, the characters of the two are not able to scream at all. They covered themselves with clothes for the first time, but their faces felt red. "I can't even seem to breathe." "Fen Lin," Zhu Ruoying's voice suddenly came. "What's happening?" Fen Lin simply turned around and found that a man wearing black sportswear had covered his head. "I will bite you to death." Zhu Ruoying strangled Fen Lin's neck and they both fell to the carpet at the same time, biting Fen Lin's shoulder. Lan Rao took advantage of Feng Lin's face being covered and ran angrily, kicking Feng Lin a few times. Shit. What are you doing? Feng Lin's voice was a little innocent. What are you pretending to be? Do you think you can scare us with your serious face? Shameless. Water dripped from Zhu Wang's cheeks, and she actually let Feng Lin see her ugly appearance. Chapter 44. Let him pretend that everything is done. Lan Rao immediately opened the closet, took out 2 dresses, and put them on Zhu Wang. Her blouse was still on Feng Lin's head. Don't make trouble. Feng Lin grabbed Zhu Wang's arm and easily opened her arm. He then threw the black sports clothes on his head to the ground. Feng Lin, I'm sincere in disdain to your such methods. Feng Lin, if you don't give me a perfect explanation, I won't forgive you. Zhu Wang pointed at Feng Lin and said that she still feels her heart racing. There was someone at your window just now. At the very least, it should be the murderer, Feng Lin said to the two. Who are you lying to? I have a pinhole camera installed here. If not, I will bite you to death. Zhu Wang sat at the desk and turned on the desktop computer here. After a while, tracking was activated. Feng Lin looked at the screen and found that there were 4 directions and almost no dead ends. The 3 of them looked at the screen. Sure enough, 2 minutes ago, a man dressed in black and a black mask jumped into his yard. The other party quickly approached the window, jumped slightly, grabbed the 2nd floor balcony, and lay down on the window. But the next moment, the other party suddenly jumped up and fled from here. Before the other party escaped, a shaking sound could still be heard. It was Feng Lin who opened the door. Zhu Wang and Lan Rao looked at each other, a little embarrassed. It turned out to be true. I'm sorry, Feng Lin, I misunderstood you. Lan Rao smiled apologetically at Feng Lin, having kicked him several times just now. Okay. Just clear up the misunderstanding and rest early. Feng Lin nodded and left with a calm expression. Stop. Zhu Wang took Feng Lin's arm and asked the doubts in her heart. We were like this just now, why don't you say something? Lan Rao Walser listened carefully. I was also very surprised. Over this matter. It was obvious that the 2 of them fought very hard, especially Zhu Wang, whose underwear was torn off by her, but Feng Lin did not react at all. What are you talking about? Isn't this normal? When we were soldiers, we often used this way of communicating feelings, Feng Lin said disapprovingly. The 2 hug and fight, and the one who loses cleans the bathroom. Zhu Wang and Lan, the 2 have black lines on their heads. Feng Lin, no matter what happens, you have to apologize to Xiaoyun. After all, you looked at me just now, Lan Rao said to Feng Lin. Feng Lin should have seen the beautiful scene from that angle just now. Those below us were equal to men in my opinion. Feng Lin left immediately after saying this. Zhu Wang was stunned for a long time and suddenly remembered that she had told Feng Lin before. Feng Lin deliberately raised the level, she obviously saw it. Royan closed the door tightly. This stinky Feng Lin hadn't avenged his revenge back then, but this time he was taken advantage of again. You must find a way to get revenge. The next morning, Feng Lin woke up early and after yesterday's murder, he never fell asleep deeply. After getting up, I found Zhu Wang and Lan Rao preparing breakfast downstairs. Feng Lin washed casually, then went downstairs, yawned and said, Lan Rao, I'm going to go today. Take a day off. I have to do something. Okay. Lan Rao nodded. Zhu Wang had just talked about it yesterday, but she knew what was going on. But these are just words. If you know that you can control the evidence, you can arrest the Song family. Aren't you looking for the person from yesterday? Zhu Wang asked nervously. Don't worry, I'll go talk to Mr. Zhu and see what he can do. Feng Lin smiled slightly and said. Don't go to the company today. Go to your father's house and wait. For the scatter Gowen and Gowu, it would be better for the 2 of them to be together. Well, be nice to Mr. Zhu and don't make others angry, Zhu Wang warned. Feng Lin nodded. After having breakfast here, Feng Lin left in Lan Ru's car. Feng Lin, do you like men? You didn't react at all when you saw that scene last night, Lan Rao asked with a smile in the car. Because I have seen too many people who have killed us, they will choose to mock us if they find that they can't fight head-on. Feng Lin leaned chin and looked out the window, explaining. The easiest way is to use a honey trap. After a few glances, he might go home. It is not surprising. Lan Rao nodded secretly. She was indeed a member of the legendary Dead Knight. Feng Lin asked Lan Ru to put him on the street of Zhu's house and let Lan Ru return. He planned to ask Zhu Yuan about the specific background of the Song family. If it was irrelevant, then I would easily clarify it. Zhu family. When the guards at the door saw Feng Lin, they all bowed respectfully. Mr. Feng Lin. They knew Zhu Yuan's words by heart. Your attitude towards this person should be the same as Zhu Yuan himself.
Is Zhu Yuan here? Fen Lin asked.
Mr. Zhu just returned from morning exercise. The protagonist replied.
Yes, Fen Lin nodded, put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked in slowly. From a distance, I could see Zhu Yuan on the training ground, playing with his spear. Seeing Fen Lin come in, he quickly stabbed his spear into the ground and walked over with a smile. Sir, why are you here so early? I want to know about the Song family. They provoked me. I'll take it. It's time to kill him. Fen Lin sat on the chair next to him and said calmly. The strength of the Lord can naturally erase them easily, but it is better not to reveal their identity. Zhu Yuan reminded. Oh. The Song family is very strong. Fen Lin asked in surprise. The Song family is trash, but Song Zhen's wife is amazing. His wife's name is Wei Zi and she is the illegitimate daughter of the second son of the Wei family in Jiabai. Zhu Yuan wiped the sweat from his forehead with a white handkerchief. Tao Lin sat next to Fen Lin. Jiabai Wei family. Fen Lin asked in a low voice. Yes, Jiabai is a province, and the Wei family is a really rich family. It is not on the same level as the four major families of Zhang City, Zhu Yuan patiently explained. Song Zhen's Song family is, of course, to put it this way, bluntly, the Wei family. It's interesting. This is the first time I've heard of these things. Fen Lin chuckled a few times. Your content level may be too high. I really don't understand how complex an ant is. The main thing you haven't understood in depth is that the several powerful families in Jiangbai have spheres of influence throughout Jiangbai province, but most of them are hidden in the darkness. Zhu Yuan paused for a moment and suddenly said, for example, in our Zhang City, almost 40% of the entertainment venues are all in Yishen's hands. Fen Lin asked flatly, is she also the eyes of the rich families of Jiangbai? Yes. Yishen is known as Jiangbai's underground elder sister. Only a few people know that she is the rich Jiangbai family. People from the Yi family. When Zhu Yuan said this, he suddenly laughed and said, the Yi family and the Wei family have a feud and have been fighting each other for many years. If you want to attack the Song family, you can take advantage of Yishen. Haha. Interesting. Fen Lin touched his chin. I had been so focused on doing tasks that I didn't even notice these interesting landscapes. At noon, Fen Lin followed Zhu Yuan's guidance and came to a club called Narcissus. I heard from Zhu Yuan that Yishen lives here. There is a bar on the first floor of the club, but it is midday and not as exciting as a nightclub. Suddenly, Fen Lin saw an acquaintance. The bald guy at the party, Liu Tu. Liu Tu also saw Fen Lin and raised the corners of his mouth slightly, lit a cigarette and greeted the younger brothers around him. They then walked towards Fen Lin together. The more he thought about what happened that day, the angrier he became, but because he wanted to talk business, he took a step back. But in the end, the business was not concluded, and Sister Yi scolded her when she returned. That night, my entire pussy was faked by this guy, and there was no one left for him. Of course today he has to pay a price. Chapter 45. The teacher is teaching the bad guy a lesson. As soon as Fen Lin entered the club, he noticed some malicious glances from Liu Tu. But he just looked at it indifferently and stared at the guidance sign next to him. This time his purpose was to find Yishen. On the orientation sign it is clearly written that this club has 7 floors in total. The first floor is the bar, which is also the largest. As for the second to 7th floors, they are all located in some common clubs, such as leisure and entertainment places, cafes, beauty centers, etc. However, before entering, Fen Lin deliberately counted that there were 8 floors in this club. I heard from Zhu Yuan that Yishen usually lives on the 8th floor. Boy, do you still remember me? Liu Tu walked over with a cigarette in his mouth and a bottle of beer in his hand. When he approached Fen Lin, he didn't forget to touch his bald head. As soon as he finished speaking, 7 or 8 strong men walked over and surrounded Fen Lin. Sorry, I'm blind and all bald heads look the same to me. Fen Lin smiled slightly. It turned out that these people were Yishen's subordinates. You're quite interesting. Drag it, Liu Tu said to the people around him. Stop. At this time, a woman with dyed brown hair walked over with a smile. Brother Tu, what's going on? Shan Yuan, do you know this child? Liu Tu turned around strangely and looked walking towards the woman. Fen Lin looked at the voice and narrowed his eyes. Isn't this your student? She has dyed brown hair and an elongated face. It cannot be said that she is very beautiful, but she is quite attractive. He remembers that when he first went to class, he asked Fen Lin if he had a girlfriend. Her name is Bai Nuan. He is now wearing a white coat with a huge skull pattern on the front. Well, this is my friend. Brother Tu, do me a favor and I'll treat you to a drink later. Bai Nuan walked up to Fen Lin and said with a smile. Shun Yuan, for your brother's sake, brother Tu will let him go, just this once. Liu Tu glanced at Fen Lin coldly, then turned and left. He also wanted to teach Fen Lin a lesson, but Bai Nuan's brother was a fierce general under Sister Yi. Now, at the age of 28, he is in his prime. He has helped Sister Yi defeat several disobedient organizations and he is the only one. An old man like Liu Tu who followed Sister Yi had to call him Brother Bai when he met him. What's the matter? Fen Lin frowned slightly and grabbed Bai Nuan's ears. Who asked you to come to the bar and wear clothes like this? Ouch. Let go. Bai Nuan screamed in pain. She pinched Fen Lin. Arm, I asked the squad leader for permission. Today's my friend's birthday. Come back early after congratulations. Your first priority now is to study, Fen Lin said seriously. TCH. You're still talking about me. What's the teacher doing here? Bai Nuan pursed her lips. I'm here to find someone. Fen Lin walked in while speaking. However, they were all stopped by several young men and women sitting in the corner. Shun Yuan, just now you said that you didn't have a boyfriend, how could you hide it? Haha. He's much more handsome than my boyfriend. Since my brother is here, let's go have some drinks. Fen Lin was shocked by this. A group of men and women in strange costumes were sitting at a table in the corner. There are several types of wine here and, in the middle, there is a birthday cake. Shun Yuan, why don't you introduce me? Said a woman with short red hair sitting opposite with a smile. You misunderstood, he is not my boyfriend, he is my teacher, Bai Nuan explained with an unnatural expression. Wow. Hearing this explanation, everyone around exclaimed and winked at Bai Nuan. Shun Yuan, you are so bold. It is normal for men and women who are married now to be more than 10 years apart, not to mention that they are not that different. It's true. I agree to this marriage. Everyone around started talking. Just kidding. Several people also persuaded Fen Lin to drink a few glasses of wine. Okay, have fun, but you can't drink too much, especially you guys. Fen Lin looked at Bai Nuan, stood up and walked to the bar. Everyone looked at Fen Lin's back, a little speechless. The red-haired woman sitting opposite is the birthday girl this time. Her name was Zhang Tin and she was Bai Nuan's best friend. He whispered, Shun Yuan, you're a very interesting teacher, ignore him, let's continue drinking. Although Bai Nuan said this, he continued to look at Fen Lin sitting at the bar, with Liu Tu and others just 2 meters away. A bottle of Louis XIII. Fen Lin said to the waiter who was preparing the table. Are you sure? The waiter asked with a smile. That's right. Fen Lin nodded. At the same time, everyone on Bai Nuan's side was shocked. Shun Yuan, you are a rich master. Zhang Tin said with a smile. Bai Nuan did not speak, she did not know Fen Lin very well. The waiter placed a bottle of foreign wine in front of Fen Lin and said with a professional smile, Do you have a membership card, sir? If not, you must pay in advance. Without saying a word, Fen Lin opened the wine, raised his head and took a sip. Don't worry, someone will pay for the drinks. Liu Tu, who had been looking at Fen Lin, her boss here, Yishen. Fen Lin carried the wine and walked towards Liu Tu. The expressions of everyone on Bai Nuan's side changed. Shun Yuan, are you a drunk teacher? Isn't it so easy to get into trouble with Sister Yi? Yes. Go and stop him quickly. If Sister Yi gets angry, it will be over. Although these people look like they are all society youths, but they are very loyal. Bai Nuan nodded and immediately ran over. Who do you think you are? You also called Sister Yi. Liu Tu's Hanku didn't have the chance to teach Fen Lin a lesson. He raised his glass and smashed it at Fen Lin's head. Click. Suddenly, Liu Tu's hand that he was holding the wine bottle bent in the opposite direction and he threw the bottle, landing on the ground far away. Ah! When the wine bottle broke, Liu Bai Nuan's roar could be heard in the distance. Stopped immediately. Fen Lin grabbed the back of Liu Tu's neck with one hand, pushed him to the ground, and then stepped on his other arm with his left foot. After taking a sip of wine, Fen Lin looked at the young man with a calm expression. Go and call Yishen. Tell him that there's a bold person here who was vandalizing a store. After saying that, Fen Lin suddenly exerted force on his feet. Click. Ah! Liu Tu shouted again. Everyone here was scared and they immediately ran towards the elevator in the distance. As for Bai Nuan's friends in the distance, they were all dumbfounded. Is he really a teacher? Fen Lin took another sip of wine, sat in the cabin with a calm expression, and waited. Silently. Last time, Lan Rao was present and Fen Lin tried his best to remain a gentleman to leave a good impression. This time there's no fiancé, not to mention that this bald man is not a good person in the first place. After Fen Lin found out that Baldhead was Yi Shin's subordinate, her favorable impression of Yi Shin also plummeted. Bai Nuan saw this situation and immediately walked over. Fen Lin. What are you doing? Let him go. The teacher is teaching the bad guys, you have nothing to do here. Fen Lin looked at Bai Nuan and said calmly. Remember, go to class this afternoon or call your parents. Several of Bai Nuan's friends rolled their eyes. These words came from Fen Lin, why is it so wrong? Ringing at this moment, the elevator door opened, and a tall man in a black suit walked over with a sound. Expressionless face. He also has a long face, somewhat similar to Bai Nuan, and is 1.95 meters tall. Zhang Ting sighed in the distance. Zhang Nuan's parents are here. Chapter 46 I have no patience with bad people. Zhang Ting and Bai Nuan have known each other since childhood. Zhang Ting knows that Bai Nuan is an orphan and depends on her brother Bai Jian. Bai Jian has a somewhat dull personality and is very autistic. He was often bullied as a child. However, Bai Jian has a reverse scale, and that is his sister. As long as someone dares to touch her, Bai Jian will fight for her life. I remember Bai Jian had been to the construction site before. But I don't know what happened in between. 2 years ago, Bai Jian came here to work as a security guard. Bai Nuan's standard of living has also improved since then. She originally planned to work after graduating high school, but Bai Jian took the money and let Bai Nuan go to college. Brother. Bai Nuan saw the long-faced man approaching and quickly reached out and grabbed his arm. Bai Jian smiled honestly at Bai Nuan, then took her hand away and walked towards Fen Lin. Brother Bai. Help, this guy is disrespectful to Sister Yi. Liu Tu, who was lying on the ground, saw Bai Jian come in, his face twisted and he laughed. Bai Jian is here, this guy looks good. Brother. You can't hit him. Bai Nuan immediately stood in front of Fen Lin. Don't worry, Sister Yi just asked me to break one of her arms. Bai Jian grabbed Bai Nuan's arms, lifted her up and put her on the other side. Stop her. Yeah. Several men immediately grabbed her. Bai Nuan, warm arms. Brother. Stop it. Bai Nuan shouted. Boom. Bai Jian hit Fen Lin with a strong punch. Fen Lin raised his eyebrows in surprise. There were already key fluctuations in his strength. It's very complicated and I don't know how to control it. It's just Min Jin's initial peak. Not only Liu Tu on the ground, but also the younger brothers over there were very excited. After so long, I finally get to see Bai Jian perform again. Boom. With a dull sound, Fen Lin's hand easily grabbed Bai Jian's fist. Before the other party could react, Fen Lin released his fist and gently placed his hand on her shoulder. Boom. There was a loud noise and a huge force seemed to appear on the white sword, instantly pressing it to the ground. There were cracks in the floor below. Shock. Everyone around was so scared that they couldn't speak. This was the first time that an old man like Liu Tu saw Bai Jian knocked to the ground. The key point is that this young man did not use any force. Bai Nuan was dumbfounded. She was worried that her brother might seriously injure Fen Lin. Unexpectedly, his brother was seriously injured. As for Bai Nuan's friends, they didn't know what expressions to use. What the hell is this, a teacher? What class are you teaching? Brush. Suddenly, Bai Jian, who was lying on the ground, hunched over and hugged Fen Lin's legs with both hands. Interesting, the corners of Fen Lin's mouth curled up slightly and his control of force was very precise. He just heard Bai Nuan call him brother, so he was merciful and used a force that only made him lose stamina. Now he can still move, which shows that his body is far beyond that of ordinary people. Boom. Fen Lin didn't make a move. Bai Jian's arms suddenly trembled, and his hunched body fell to the ground again. His arms that were holding Fen Lin fell like noodles. Brother. Brother. Bai Nuan roared with all her might, broke away from the people behind her, and immediately knelt down next to Bai Jian. He was found to be bleeding from his nose and mouth. Liu Tu was completely stupid here. Who did he offend? Doorbell. At this moment, the elevator rang in the distance, and a woman in uniform said to Fen Lin, Sir, our boss invites you. Fen Lin raised his bottle and pointed to the corner not far away. Said, you can buy this bottle of wine. The uniformed woman gently touched the Bluetooth headset to her ear and said with a smile. The boss agreed. Sir, please come with me. Yes. Fen Lin nodded slightly. And he said to Bai Nuan, don't worry, he'll wake up in about a minute. After that, he took Louis XIII and walked towards the elevator. The shocked people were left alone here. Fen Lin entered the elevator and found that the stairs here were only on the 7th floor. Come to the 7th floor, here is the cafeteria. In the distance, by the window, sat a woman in a black skirt. He has a pair of red phoenix eyes, which are very deep and give people a feeling of melancholy. She is a little older, probably in her 30s, and her whole body exudes mature charm. In front of the woman was a silver laptop. When he saw Fen Lin enter, he closed it. The waiter sent Fen Lin away. Fen Lin took a sip of wine and sat across from the woman with a smile. I'm Yi Xin. I don't know where I offended, sir. Yesterday I was at a party with my friends and that bald man bullied my friend. I see. Since you have taught him a lesson, I won't apologize. Yi Xin smiled slightly. Yes, Fen Lin nodded, took another sip of wine, and looked carefully at Yi Xin in front of him. Mr. is also a person of status. Isn't it a bit rude to look at me like this? Yi Xin asked with a smile. Do you know my identity? The Lord's achievements in dark power have reached their peak, at least in the middle stage of dark power, Yi Xin explained. Fen Lin drank the wine in one gulp and put the bottle on the table. It is said that like a dog, it also has an owner. I was wondering if your personality is similar to that bald man. Yi Xin cupped her cheek and said, a dog can be taught with patience. If there are too many dogs, there will always be bad dogs. Fen Lin frowned. Can you stop repeating your words to me? It's a bit disgusting. Haha, sir, you're very funny. I think this visit is not just to teach you two a lesson, right? Yi Xin covered her mouth and chuckled. You are from the Yi family in Jiangbai, and Song Zhentel is from the Wei family in Jiangbai. I want to destroy the Song family, and someone suggested that I come to you. Fen Lin got straight to the point. You mean you want our Yi family to take the blame? That's not possible. Yi, is there any space left? Fen Lin asked with a smile. No, Yi Xin shook his head. Okay then, Fen Lin nodded and raised two fingers. Next is the second question. I am going to destroy the Song family and you. What are you going to do? Sir, why don't you take any care? If you say something so explicit, aren't you afraid that I will record it and call the police? Yi Xin asked. No fear. Fen Lin shook his head calmly. Now Yi Xin was looking at Fen Lin, wondering if Fen Lin's words were a joke. In a truly rich family, internal relationships are very complicated. For example, Yi Xin, as a direct descendant, has been suppressed. She was forced to leave the Yi family and develop on her own. In recent years, the management has been quite good, and these subordinates are their own forces. You will also have the confidence to face those people from the Yi family in the future. Fen Lin must not destroy the power that has been cultivated so hard. If it had been anyone else, I would have taken it as a joke. But the person in front of me has this ability. Haha, sir, there are many questions that require careful consideration. I can't answer you right away. Yi Xin put the phone on the table. If it is convenient, we can leave contact information. I have no patience for bad people. Fen Lin picked up the phone. Go out, click the stopwatch, I'll give you 10 minutes to think about it. Chapter 47 For the Good of the Child. For the boss of this kind of entertainment venue, the key is to have someone like Liu Tu under his command. This boss is definitely not clean. Fen Lin didn't like this kind of person and wouldn't show mercy just because she was a woman. This is the first time I've heard someone call me a bad person. Yi Xin chuckled, his branches trembling in an intoxicating manner. Sir, what will you do in 10 minutes? I don't know, but for you anyway, it must be a disaster. Fen Lin began to close his eyes and rest. Yi Xin suddenly stood up, stood behind Fen Lin, and spit pattern in his ear. Sir, do you care about a woman older than you? No, Fen Lin said calmly. Sir, what do you think of me? Yi Xin put his hand on Fen Lin's shoulder. No, your actions just now make me imagine a picture, that is, when you are in trouble, you will do this kind of thing to men. Fen Lin put away his hand, looked at the phone and said, it's been a minute. Yi Xin found that this trick didn't work, so he could only sit opposite Fen Lin again. What is your name? What is your occupation? What do you ask? I don't think so. I'm a bad person and I don't want to cooperate with bad guys because they don't keep their word. Yi Xin opened the notebook on the side and looked at Fen Lin. My name is Fen Lin, I'm single and I'm currently a teacher, Fen Lin explained. Yi Xin immediately contacted a hacker friend and took pictures of Fen Lin with his mobile phone. Sent Fen Lin's photo and name to the other party. His hacker friend is very powerful, but the fee is also very expensive. Matter may be related to his life and it doesn't matter whether he has money or not. Neither of them spoke and time passed. 10 minutes later, Fen Lin paused. This person's identity is highly encrypted and no information can be found. Seeing this, the corners of Yi Xin's mouth raised slightly. Generally, people whose identities are highly encrypted, whether it is from a powerful organization or someone service of the country, there are great risks in cooperating with such people, but the rewards are also very high. Mr. Fen Lin, I am willing to cooperate with you. Yi Shen closed the notebook. Although I don't know what Fen Lin's intention is, cooperation is the safest way now. Okay, leave your contact information. Fen Lin nodded and left each other's phone numbers to Yi Shen. I will contact you later for specific details. I'll leave first. I will dismiss you, sir. No. Fen Lin refused, put his cell phone in his pocket and took the elevator to leave alone. Yi Shen looked at Fen Lin's back and thought deeply. After Fen Lin went downstairs, found that everyone present had dispersed. After you two left, Bai Nuan and Bai Jian were not here either. Fen Lin didn't say anything else and left with his hands in his pants pockets. There was a lot to do today. He took a taxi to the Eastern District. This time his purpose was the Song family. What he wants to do now is to arrest Du Qingyu. Approaching the Song family, Fen Lin took out a black mask from his pocket, jumped slightly, and jumped from the side wall to the Song family mansion. At the same time, Du Qingyu was sitting on a sofa in the living room, looking at the information that Song Fan had found compared with the information of several members of the Zhu family. Fen Lin's information only has a few pieces of information. Name: Fen Lin. Male sex. Occupation: English teacher. Other than that, nothing was found. Mr. What should we do now? Song Keming had gotten up from the wheelchair, but he was still in a lot of pain down there. I didn't expect Fen Lin to be expertly protected. Du Qingyu ate a lollipop and looked at Fen Lin's photo. She was hit by Fen Lin. I definitely couldn't talk about it. He simply lied to the Song family and said that Fen Lin also had teachers around him. The Song Fan family firmly believed in this. After all, the Zhu family was expertly protected. It is reasonable to protect the closed forest. I really don't know what benefits this Fen Lin has given to Zhu Yan. Song Keming said with a cold expression. Your main task is to capture Fen Lin and Zhu Ruoying alive. If it was a murder, they would already be dead. Du Qingyu raised his face proudly and said, Of course I believe in Mr. Zhu's strength, but simply letting them die will hardly explain the hatred in my heart. Song Keming's purpose was to torture Fen Lin, so he was in no hurry. This time they guarantee him a month. If they can't capture him alive in the last few days, it won't be too late to kill him. Who? Suddenly, Du Qingyu turned around, moved quickly, and jumped out of the window. Fen Lin was below, caught Du Qingyu and then quickly jumped over the wall and left. The move just now was intentional on his part. It's you. Fen Lin. Du Qingyu's expression suddenly changed. I didn't expect him to find it in person. A sword appeared in Fen Lin's fist, and he put it in front of Du Qingyu's neck. Be obedient and follow me. After hailing a taxi, Fen Lin hugged Du Qingyu and sat in the back row. Fen Lin said the name of Zhu Ruoying's community. After all, the other party is a murderer and Fen Lin cannot allow her to come into contact with Tang Qian. Zhu Ruoying's house is also in the Eastern District, and in a short time, the two of them arrived here. Fen Lin. What are you going to do? Du Qingyu's voice trembled. I warned you, what did you think I would do? Fen Lin grabbed Du Qingyu, jumped to Zhu Ruoying's villa, and then jumped from behind to the second-floor window. Take Du Qingyu back to the room where he rested yesterday. After arriving here, Fen Lin let go of the other party. Du Qingyu stood here nervously, not daring to move at all. She had already seen Fen Lin's strength. Take out your cell phone and call home, Fen Lin said condescendingly. I won't fight. Du Qingyu pursed his lips. You won't fight, will you? Fen Lin grabbed Du Qingyu's delicate neck and pushed her to the ground. He immediately sat on Du Qingyu and stepped on his arms with his legs, preventing him from moving. Fen Lin searched for his cell phone in his jacket pocket, but found a small red wallet. I opened it and took a look. There was 1,000 or 2,000 in cash, plus tickets and ID cards. Fen Lin put the cash into his pocket very casually, looked at him with his ID card. Du Qingyu. That's right. Your grandmother's name is Du Qingyu. Du Qingyu struggled with all his might, but he couldn't. He was released. But still he spoke relentlessly. Fen Lin found a mobile phone in another pocket and searched for the contact information inside. I discovered that there were no contacts on my phone. Fen Lin nodded secretly. Yes, he has the taste of a killer. He knows how to carry a special mobile phone. Humph. That's because your grandmother has no friends. She only has one contact person, my mother. I have already memorized her number, Du Qingyu said proudly. Fen Lin rolled her eyes and forcefully pinched her hand. Du Qingyu's cheek. You are so proud. Since she couldn't do anything, Fen Lin could only call her father and ask him to inform her. Since she is the fiancée, it means that the two Fen Lin families don't know each other. He had no choice but to kill her without telling his parents. Hey, I'm busy. If you have something to say, please tell me. Fen Chen answered the phone and did not forget to say 3 things. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Do you know Du Qingyu? She was given a mission to kill me and I caught her. Du Qingyu, I remembered. Fen Chen's voice was a little louder. This is your fiancée, you can't kill her. Then you called her home immediately and asked him. The family took her away. Fen Lin looked at Du Qingyu on the floor. I don't have her contact information, Fen Chen said helplessly. This room was very quiet. Although Fen Lin didn't turn on the speaker, Du Qingyu could still hear clearly. He couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth and didn't forget to make a face at Fen Lin. What should I do? Now she has become a threat to me, Fen Lin asked. I suggest you cook the rice before cooking it. For the sake of the child, she will definitely let you go. Fen Chen gave Fen Lin an idea. Du Qingyu, who was still grimacing at first, suddenly turned pale as a sheet. P.S. For the sake of the child, kids, support me and give me some recommendation votes. Chapter 48. Let my husband go. It seems that this is the only way. Fen Lin nodded secretly. How dare you? Old man on the other end of the phone, be careful, my mother kills you. She won't let you go. Du Qingyu panicked and yelled at the phone. For you, Du Qingyu. You have a good voice. In the future, your children will be able to learn music. After Fen Chen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin looked at Du Qingyu and her face was getting closer and closer to him. What are you going to do? Fen Lin. I advise you not to waste your time. I have 99 boyfriends and I have an infectious disease. Du Qingyu was a little incoherent. Her mother's wish was for her to get married with children, stay at home. That's why he rebelled and, to prove his worth, took on this mission. You can't leave homework unfinished and bring a child with you when you return. What a coincidence. I also have an infectious disease, so we are perfect for each other. Fen Lin took off Du Qingyu's clothes as he spoke. Of course, he was just trying to scare her. What if she really acts and trusts him? Suddenly, Fen Lin heard a voice and immediately pointed to the tip of Du Qingyu's nose and said viciously, put on your clothes immediately, otherwise it won't be as simple as having a child. After that, Fen Lin put Du Qingyu into the closet next door. Don't forget to throw away the clothes. As soon as Fen Lin closed the closet, the door to Fen Lin's room opened. Zhu Ruan walked in with his hands in his trouser pockets and an indifferent expression. Huh? Why are you here? Fen Lin yawned asked with a puzzled expression on his face. I was bored, so I checked the surveillance camera on my phone and saw that you and a woman dressed in casual clothes walked in together. Zhu Ruan looked around the room with a calm expression, but did not see the woman. Haha. That woman was the one who murdered you yesterday. I knocked her unconscious and threw her into the closet. Fen Lin pointed to the closet next to him. When he entered, he did not avoid the camera. He asked Du Qingyu to hide, just because he didn't want Zhu Ruan to see that his clothes had been taken off. Otherwise, your wisdom will disappear. That's it. Zhu Ruan breathed a sigh of relief. Before, he thought that Fen Lin was secretly having a date with that woman. She walked towards the closet, ready to see what this woman was like. Be careful, what if he wakes up? Fen Lin warned, and as soon as he finished speaking, the closet door opened automatically. Du Qingyu poked his head out. Fen Lin and Zhu Ruan were dumbfounded. Not only did he not put it on, but he even took it off even more. Husband. What do you mean? Who was this woman? Du Qingyu came out, hugged Fen Lin's arm, pointed at Zhu Ruan and asked. What the hell? Before Fen Lin could react, Zhu Ruan's face darkened. She ran over, strangled Fen Lin's neck, and pressed him to the quilt next to him. Fen Lin. You're shameless, just looking for a woman, why did you bring her to my house? I really don't blame Zhu Ruan for believing this, because Du Qingyu's eyes give people a very innocent color. Almost no impurities. At first glance, these types of women seem like they have never been out in society, so it is normal for them to cheat on her. What? This is your house? Du Qingyu asked innocently. Then he immediately put on his clothes, pointed at Fen Lin and said, didn't you say that this villa is your home? Well, you're good. Fen Lin. So you brought her back because you wanted to pretend to be rich? Zhu Ruan said coldly. After all, Fen Lin's house was in a village in a city, so he couldn't fool such a simple woman. Du Qingyu had already dressed and quietly approached the window, preparing to escape. Fen Lin extended his arm and grabbed Du Qingyu's hand. Du Qingyu knew that he couldn't escape like this, so he approached Fen Lin again and forcefully pushed Zhu Ruan's body. What are you doing? Let go of my husband. That's enough. Fen Lin broke free and grabbed the two men respectively, human arms, walking outside. Arriving at the living room on the first floor, Fen Lin threw the two of them on the sofa. Sit tight. Husband Du King Yu swayed coquettishly, and with her big clear eyes, she was very cute. Zhu Wang's eyes were so cold that her hair went crazy. Interesting. Fen Lin put his arms around Du King Yu's waist and they sat together on a sofa. You really? Zhu Wang noticed that Fen Lin had also taken the leg, her pupils shining madly. Yes. She is my wife. When Fen Lin said this, his hands became trembling. Du King Yu tried his best to restrain himself and try to remain calm. But Fen Lin became more and more violent. Finally she couldn't stand it anymore. She broke away and cursed angrily. Get out. Fen Lin asked doubtfully. Aren't you my wife? You don't even let me touch. You. I's your grandmother. If Du King Yu agrees again, I don't know how Fen Lin will deal with her. Suddenly, he took a few steps back and a steel nail appeared in his hand, pointing at Zhu Wang's neck. Fen Lin. Have you been deceived? Don't move, I will kill her if you move. Zhu Wang was a little confused, but she immediately realized that it was Fen Lin who had taken off Du King Yu's clothes earlier. That Fen Lin's actions were not excessive for her. A couple, why can't she bear it anymore? The answer is obvious. This woman did it on purpose, took it away herself, and slandered Fen Lin. Fen Lin, I misunderstood you. Zhu Wang seemed to apologize. Fen Lin, I'm not kidding, she will die if you touch her. Du King Yu grabbed Zhu Wang and backed away little by little. This stupid woman deserves to die. What happens to me if I move? Fen Lin stood up, shook his body and did morning exercises. Zhu Wang's teeth were itchy with hatred, but this time it was all his fault and he could only swallow his breath. Du King Yu, she was extremely nervous and knew that she couldn't defeat Fen Lin. If he is caught again this time, the chance of escape is almost zero. Du King Yu, again and again, not again, if you dare to leave, you will die next time. As soon as Fen Lin finished speaking, a big hand suddenly grabbed Du King Yu's wrist from behind. It was Gou who was approaching. Fen Lin saw his figure and did morning exercises to attract attention. In that instant, she ran over, grabbed Du King Yu with her backhand, and pushed her to the ground. Zhu Wang also took the opportunity to free herself. Good job, come back. Fen Lin nodded towards Gou next to her. Forgot to bow. Thank you, Mr. Gou. You are welcome, Gou greeted with a smile and walked to the car outside. Fen Lin put his arm around Du King Yu's shoulders again and sat on the sofa. Zhu Wang, let me ask you something. Gave. Zhu Wang was a little surprised. She was in a cold sweat after being checked just now. This guy has a lot of nails hidden in his body. I want to search carefully and not miss any corners. When Fen Lin spoke, he looked at the trembling Du King Yu in his arms and showed a know-how smile. She's a murderer anyway. It's up to you. Zhu Wang nodded. I couldn't register it. What if they caught her again? Heptars. At this moment, Du King Yu suddenly raised his head and left. Chapter 49 tried to touch it. Not only Zhu Wang, but also Fen Lin were a little confused by this smile. You are so ridiculous. Fen Lin frowned to see what she was doing. Haha. Brother Fen Lin, you're not kidding anymore. Du King Yu suddenly leaned on Fen Lin's shoulder like a baby, looking like a little bird. How? What did you call it? Zhu Wang asked in disbelief. Sister, let me introduce myself. My name is Du King Yu and I am Brother Fen Lin's fiancé. Du King Yu raised 3 fingers and said, I swear. Fen Lin, is this true? Zhu Wang said. She asked. Fen Lin looked at Du King Yu deeply. This girl seemed innocent, but I didn't expect her thoughts to be so thoughtful. That being said, he couldn't really do anything too extreme. Yes, but I broke off the engagement with her, Fen Lin explained from the side. I haven't agreed yet. I think Brother Fen Lin is good. I deliberately caused trouble for you, but it was actually to attract your attention. Du King Yu hugged Fen Lin's arm and showed his white teeth. Zhu Wang didn't know what to say, but now she had started to believe it. The photos in Fen Lin's hands are all real. So who was Fen Lin? Du King Yu, you said it very well. Are you willing to listen to me? Fen Lin definitely didn't believe it and would never let her go this time. Brother Fen Lin, tell me, what's going on? Du King Yu laughed. Fen Lin returned the phone. Call your parents. Du King Yu, who was still smiling, suddenly stopped smiling. It turns out that everything you said was false. Fen Lin looked disappointed. No. Du King Yu sighed lightly. This should be the only way he could leave. The first time I went out on a mission, I didn't expect to meet a master like Fen Lin. He had no choice but to call his mother's number. Fen Lin clicked on the speaker and crossed his legs until a woman's voice came from there. This voice is very cold and magnetic. Do you still know what to call me? Are you in trouble? You are indeed in trouble. Hello, my name is Fen Lin. Fen Lin took the phone in his hand. Are you Fenken's son? The woman in front asked. That's right, and you accepted the mission to assassinate me. I let her go once, but she still dares to come. Lin paused and continued. I want to ask Ant to pick her up. It's not invulnerable. If you don't stop, it would be bad to kill her. You mean you want to kill her? If you dare to kill her, I will kill you. The voice on the other side suddenly became cold and chilling. You stuck out her tongue at Lin. I will clean it up. Lin pinched her butt hard. You. Why is the mother-in-law so angry lately? Ouch. You cried out in pain. Lin. What are you doing? Do you think I'm joking? The woman in front heard you scream and immediately became nervous. Andy, you wants to kill me and also said that it wants to break off the engagement with me. I don't think I'm good enough for her, so our family should be separated. Lin spoke into the phone word by word. I'll give you one this time. Save face, let her go one last time. If she dares to harm my people, she will be killed. Lin, you are so shameless. By the way, Luo City in the Central Plains, Tianjin in Huaijian County, Fengjia Village, near the foot of the mountain. It's a mud house, my father lives there, try to touch it. Lin has never seen such an arrogant person in his life, daring to threaten his father. He was really a little angry. Dad once said, don't be angry with people who are completely unequal because they are not qualified yet. So, faced with Wang Qing's cynicism, Lin decided to resolve the matter. But Yu's family is obviously not simple, such as their ability to hide their aura. As long as she dared to act, Lin would dare to lead people to destroy them. After saying that, Lin hung up the phone and threw it into Yu's arms with a cold expression. You can go out. Yu looked into Lin's eyes, clearly seeing the killing intent, and was too scared to dare to say. Choose to go out first. After she left, Lin was still sitting on the sofa with a cold expression. Zhuoran walked over and pushed Lin's shoulder. Everyone is gone, why are you pretending? Lin was still angry, but Zhuoran made him laugh. I'll kill you. What are you pretending to be? It's like you can kill me. It's not because of Mr. Zhu. Zhuoran plucked down on the sofa and looked at Lin. Lin crossed his legs and closed his eyes to rest. The Song family's journey has come to an end. You did not return to the Song family. It would be embarrassing if he came back. Now he can't continue causing trouble for Lin. Lin must have murderous intentions this time, and he also felt that his mother had no brains. What threatens someone else's father if nothing happens? His phone rang again and it was his mother. After answering the call, he said, it's me, he asked me to leave. He didn't hurt you, right? Lin asked there. No, but this mission cannot be completed. I should really want to kill me. Yu puffed his lips slightly. Go back or break off the engagement, you two can't get married anyway. If you want to get married, according to family rules, Lin must get married, and that bastard Fen Chen won't agree. Lin said on the phone. Mom, I finally went out. I want to come back later. Yu said with a smile. Girl, stop making trouble. I'll give you 5 more days. Lin hung up the phone after saying that. Yu was about to return when he suddenly saw Lin riding a black electric bicycle out of the community gate. She trotted over and stood in front of Lin, showing a bright smile. Don't be angry. I'm not looking for trouble. I just want to talk to you. Before he could finish his words, he sat in the back seat. Go down and take me. Yu was considered a master no matter what, and Lin didn't like turning his back on an unknown person. TCH. Yu pursed his lips and sat in front. Lin sat in the back seat and said, tell me, what's going on? I apologize to you for what happened before. I don't plan to help the Song family anymore. Yu rode a small electric donkey on a suburban road. The breeze blew up his hair. A hint of fragrance entered Lin's mouth and nose. It was completely different from Zhuoran's smell, but it also smelled good. Do you think I will believe you? You don't have to believe it. Anyway, from now on, I will never cause you trouble. Yu looked forward and asked the doubts in his heart. Why not? Don't you kill them. Yu thought about this for a long time. Lin's strength could kill several members of the Song family without anyone noticing. No one can notice. Why would you give them the opportunity to hire under normal circumstances? I have a fatal weakness, which is that I don't like owing others. Once Lin owes others, he will find a way to repay them immediately. Will feel uncomfortable. If several members of the Song family were killed, Lin would owe the country a favor. The people above will definitely help Lin suppress him. The favors of those old foxes are not so easy to repay and will even make things worse. Things deliberately. Finally, he helped Fen Lin. Therefore, Fen Lin needed someone who wanted the Song family to disappear and let them do it. Fen Lin, do you have a woman you like? Chapter 50 Gu Family Banquet. Fen Lin was speechless for a moment. He looked at the trees below the road and said just 2 words. Once. Du King Yu didn't know how to respond, so he had to return to Fen Lin. When he approached the building, Du King Yu got out of the car, took out a card from his pocket, and said, "If you need my help, call me. It's free." After saying that, he clasped his hands behind him, back and jumped away. Fen Lin looked at the card. There was a crooked black letter on it. Your name, plus a number. Fen Lin put the card in his inner pocket, and at this moment, a text message arrived from his mobile phone. After seeing him, he rode to Zhu's house. The little electric donkey did not stop at the door. Fen Lin rode directly into the mansion. Several Zhu family guards praised him, saying that he was indeed a master and his car was very low to the ground. Mr. Fen Lin, I just received the invitation. The retired elder of the Gu family will celebrate his 80th birthday tomorrow. Do you think it is a coincidence or not? Zhu Yuan pointed to the invitation on the chair. Will you go? Fen Lin asked. Zhu Yuan nodded, yes. Currently, of the 4 major families in Zhang City, there are only 2 older generations left. One is Lenny and the other is Gu King. You mean Song Zhentel will also go? Fen Lin understood the meaning. Yes, Gu Changchan is older than Lan. He is considered the first group of rich people in Zhang City since the opening, Zhu Yuan said with a smile. According to my guess, the people from the 4 major families. Fen Lin asked, is Lanny going to? No, Lanny's status is a bit special and he usually doesn't get too close to businessmen, but his son Lan Jun will definitely go. Zhu Yuan remembered that ever since Lan Jun started doing business, Lanny kicked him out of the house and the family was separated from then on. Okay, I suddenly had an idea in mind. Fen Lin raised the corners of his mouth slightly, took out his mobile phone, and sent a message to Yishin to ask her to prepare. Fen Lin made a special trip to school in the afternoon. Remember that today is the school anniversary and the school has its own program. Fen Lin did not expect to arrive on time. When he arrived, he saw Gu Dudu and Tang Qian. The program also included singing, but the background music came from Gu Dudu's piano. Tang Qian is in charge of singing and Gu Dudu is in charge of playing. However, the song Tang Qian chose had no lyrics. It is called opera, which means opera, and is sung throughout the concert. Tang Qian's voice was very clear and ethereal. As soon as he opened his mouth, the people below began to exclaim and clap desperately. Following him closely, I was attracted by this chant and fell into it. The originally noisy scene seemed to calm down due to his singing. Fen Lin couldn't help but take out his mobile phone and record his show. He underestimated Tang Qian. This boy has artistic talent. After the show ended, the entire venue became quiet and everyone fell silent. After a second or two, a deafening roar could be heard. Tang Qian, I love you. Monitor. When Fen Lin found the address Yishin sent, he turned around and left. Business was more important. When I got home in the evening, I found Tang Hong and Tang Qian having dinner. Hearing the sound of the electric car, Tang Hong immediately went out and took a look. Fen Lin, you came back at the right time. Really? Then I'm not welcome. Fen Lin put the electric car next to him. Sitting at the dining table, he looked at Tang Qian and said with a smile, how was your ranking in today's competition? HNPH. Tang Qian held the bowl and turned around, ignoring Fen Lin. Fen Lin asked strangely, what's wrong? I didn't provoke you. Fen Lin, don't argue with her. She just kept complaining to me, saying that you didn't pay attention to the show at all and didn't even watch it. Tang Hong placed the bowl and chopsticks in front of Fen Lin and nodded at Tang Qian. Who said I didn't read it? Fen Lin asked. You didn't look. You weren't in school today. Tang Qian was simply putting things into her mouth. She always felt that Fen Lin didn't take her seriously. For the show, she and Gu Dudu had been practicing in the music classroom until yesterday night. He just wanted to show off in front of Fen Lin, but he didn't even go to school. I was busy today, but I still went to watch your show. Fen Lin opened the video and put it on the table. The video is in my camera, not downloaded. Tang Qian clicked on it hesitantly. Her voice suddenly changed to tears. This is indeed a live image. Look. Have you misunderstood Fen Lin again? Tang Hong also looked at the phone, admiring his daughter's singing voice. That's right. Andy, you want to comment? I have something urgent to do today, but thinking about Kian's show, I ran 10 kilometers on my bike just to watch her show. Fen Lin looked offended. It made me delay eating. Kian's face turned red. She lowered her head and muttered, "Who looked at you wrong? It's your own random thoughts, hurry up. Eat." Fen Lin smiled and shook his head. After eating, he returned to his room. Tomorrow is Saturday and he doesn't need to ask permission. The next day, Fen Lin rode his small electric donkey to Gu's house as planned. Today he will present a play with Yi on the road outside the huge mansion, not all of them luxury cars. The really rich never compete to share the car. For the big businessmen here, the car is just a means of transportation. The most powerful Rolls-Royce Phantom in terms. A business is only valued at tens of millions. Not to mention the 4 major families, the big bosses with billions of assets in their hands can afford the things that everyone can afford naturally cannot become the object of comparison. That being said, they are not interested in cars, but now their eyes are fixed on a car. This is a small black donkey. Fen Lin rode slowly through the crowd, which was incompatible with the suits and leather shoes here. Fen Lin. Suddenly a familiar voice was heard. It was Zhu Ruoying standing in the distance. Today was a birthday party, so Zhu Ruoying also changed her usual sports clothes and put on a gray skirt. The single ponytail was also extended, like a waterfall of long hair, spread out on the back, giving it a more feminine look. After all, the Zhu family has entered the billion club and is naturally within the invitation range. Zhu Chuan and Wang Qing also noticed Fen Lin, and they both looked in disbelief. Wang Qing even grabbed Zhu Ruoying's hand and whispered, "Don't talk to him. Don't you think it's embarrassing?" Not only Wang Qing, but Zhu Chuan also rolled his eyes helplessly. He was too embarrassed to say he did. New. Fen Lin. Now that Fen Lin's outfit appears here, it is like a beggar running into a banquet for ordinary people. "Zhu, do you know this guy? He has that personality." A woman in a formal dress smiled at Zhu Ruoying. "I don't know," Wang Qing hurriedly denied. "You don't know me, he is my good friend." Zhu Ruoying broke away from Wang's hand. Qin and walked towards Fen Lin. She grabbed the handlebars and whispered, "You're crazy. What are you doing here?" She was originally going to tell Fen Lin last night that she was going to Gu's house today, but I gave up after thinking about it. Because Fen Lin is not from this circle. Ha ha ha. Where is the security? Why do all the dogs and cats come to Mr. Gu's banquet? At this time, a person came from a distance. It was Song coming. End of this chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is completely available on Patreon. I invite you to subscribe and enjoy all the content.